olólùfẹ́ mi Bísí àǹtí Bísí o ṣòǹgbọ́ àní Suzy àǹtí Bísí o ṣòǹgbọ́ aya mi má má jìnnà sí mi rárá Bísí má má jìnnà sí mi rárá ṣòǹgbọ́ olólùfẹ́ mi Bísí yé Bísí jọ̀wọ́ ṣe Olúwa mi o Bísí. Àǹtí Bísí má má jìnnà sí mi rárá olólùfẹ́ mi ṣòǹgbọ́ òtútù mú swẹ́tà ńkọ́ ṣe jọ̀wọ́ wá ṣe Olúwa mi Bísí yé Olúwa mi o Bísí. Àǹtí Bísí má má jìnnà sí mi Bísí àǹtí ẹtí jọ̀wọ́ súnmọ́ mi o ṣòǹgbọ́ ìjà lóde lórí wá dòwe ṣòǹgbọ́. Bísí jọ̀wọ́ lólùfẹ́ mi ṣòǹgbọ́ sẹ́. Bísí jọ̀wọ́ lólùfẹ́ mi o ṣòǹgbọ́. Má má fi mi sí ẹ̀jẹ̀ jọ̀wọ́. Olúwa mi òtútù mú o swẹ́tà ńkọ́sẹ́ àníṣe wọ́n bomi lára Bísí. Yé Olúwa mi o Bísí jọ̀wọ́ má má jìnnà sí mi rárá má má jìnnà sí mi Bísí o yé olólùfẹ́ mi o Bísí àníṣe Olúwa mi o Bísí má jẹ ìyà jẹ mi Bísí jọ̀wọ́ súnmọ́ mi o má yẹ jà mí Bísí ìjà ló dé o lórí wá dòwe Bísí àǹtí ẹtí ìjà ló dé lórí wá dòwe Bísí àǹtí ẹtí ìjà lórí wá dòwe Bísí ṣòǹgbọ́ Olúwa mi o Bísí yé Bísí jọ̀wọ́ bá ń tẹ̀ Bísí o Olúwa mi o Bísí yé Olúwa mi o Bísí.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. You are all welcome to this auspicious occasion in celebrating 70 years of service of Olola, Olabode, Ogunlana'S. I'd like to say a special welcome to every single person in this room and to thank you for coming to celebrate with the doyen of the industry himself. Thank you all. In 1 or 2 minutes, we'll be starting these programs officially. I would like to encourage us to please settle down, settle in, so that we can go into the business of today. I'm particularly excited that the insurance industry, under the body of IICC, that's Insurance Industry Consultative Council, which comprises of NICOM, NCRIB, NIA, CIN, ILAN, that's Institute of Loss Adjusters of Nigeria. They have all come together to celebrate one of our own. And I must say that even for me, anchoring this program, I am particularly delighted because Olola gave some of us a platform to still be, to see the future in the insurance business. And I think for doing that to some of us, I belong to the 1970 generation. And when I looked at the profile of most of the people that are here today, they are men and women that have paid their dues. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I'd like us to immediately put our hands together, even for Olola, the celebrant of today, for being with us. He's our own, so we must celebrate him. Let's celebrate Olola. God bless you, God bless you. I must say that one of the things I did when I learned from Grapevine that Olola will be 90 very soon. So I quickly peeped into when he was like my age or even younger than myself. I wanted to know the kind of hairstyle he used to have on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can just turn your head, you can see the hairstyle in that time. Lovely hairstyle. I don't know what the name is called, but the hairstyle is making him to look very handsome. And I must say, is up till now, Olola Olabode is a man of style. If you agree with me, put your hands together for him. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are so delighted to have every one of us here. And like I said, this is our event, our industry event, and we are so proud of him. I'm also particularly excited, for one thing, for his long-serving, meritorious years in the insurance industry. John Maxwell said in one of his books, Ultimate Leadership, in the Law of Navigation, he said, anybody can steer a ship, but it's only a leader that will chart a course. Anybody can steer a ship, but it takes a leader to chart a course. And I'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen, that indeed, if you agree with me, Olola Olabode Ogunlana'S has charted the course for us in the insurance industry. If you agree with me, please let's put our hands together once again for him. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Having said that, if you are not that advanced in age, I would like to please ask every one of us to rise up for the national anthem. You may be seated, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. To start this proceeding, just like we've started, I would like to recognize the following dignitaries in this meeting, this gathering this morning. Thank you, everybody that has been able. Everybody is important, everybody is special, but we are being told that we should give honor to whom honor is due. So I'd like to recognize, of course, I've already recognized the celebrant, but I'd like us to just, as I'm calling these names, let's just be putting our hands together. One thing I'm going to achieve with your support in this event is the fact that we will stick strictly to timing. And trust me, the men and women in this room, they are people that have busy schedules, so we'll stick to time. And so some of our proceedings, we'll be doing it in very short manners. I'd like to specially recognize Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. Please put your hands together for him. Please put your hands together for him. God bless you. Thank you, sir, for coming. I'd also like to recognize the chairman of the committee that put this piece together. Is here with his lovely wife, Dr. A. Kende Oniwide. Please put your hands together. The Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers, in the person of Barrister Rotimi Edu. Okay. Let's put our hands together for him so that we don't have to do the recognition when he comes. I also like to recognize the chairman of NIA, Mr. Ganiu Musa. Is he here? Please put your hands together for him. Thank you, sir, for coming. And of course, sitting beside him is the DG of NIA, Mrs. Yetunde Ilori. God bless you, ma. Thanks for coming. I also like to recognize the president of the Institute of Loss Adjusters of Nigeria, Mr. Reginald Egbuniwe. Is he here? Okay, let's put our hands together for him as well. And of course, I'd like to also recognize specially this morning the president of Association of Insurance, African Insurance Organization, Mr. Tokpe Smart. Please, let's put our hands together for him. Thank you, sir, for coming. Permit me at this point to welcome Mrs. Yetunde Ilori to commit the entire session into the hands of the Almighty God. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. All protocols duly observed. Please, if we can, let's rise to our feet to just pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you. You are the giver of all good things. We appreciate you for the gift of today. We thank you for the gift of your son and our father, the doyen of insurance, Olola, Olabode Ogunlana. You have kept him this many years, particularly 70 years in our industry, not just in Nigeria, but even across Africa. And I know not just in Africa, across the entire world. It is only you that could have done this. When he started his career 70 years ago, he could not have imagined how far you will take him. But we thank you that you have taken him thus far. He remains relevant, and that's where we are appreciating you. He remains strong. You have satisfied him with good health. For this and many more blessings, we thank you and appreciate you, Father. We thank you for the godly woman with whom you have satisfied and to station beside him. Be thou glorified, Lord. Thank you for many good things that you have given unto him. We thank you, Lord God, and commit the program of today into your hands. Take absolute control. Let everything that we'll do be to the glory of your name, to the furtherance of insurance costs in Nigeria. In Jesus' precious name, I pray.
Thank you so much. Let's be seated, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'd also like to specially recognize, it might not be possible for me, please, I crave your indulgence, to introduce all the past chairmen of the Chartered Insurance, all the past presidents of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, all the past chairmen of NIA and all our bodies, because like I said, we want to just follow the proceedings and do it very fast. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, this event has been put together and we have a distinguished gentleman who is a man that we all respect in the industry, who served as the chairman of the planning committee. But before I call him up, ladies and gentlemen, John Maxwell said something. He said, a leader goes the way, shows the way. A leader goes the way and he shows the way. I dare say, ladies and gentlemen, that Olola, Olabode, Ogunshola, he did not only know the way, he showed every one of us the way. And that's why we can be comfortably seated here this morning in honor of his meritorious service in the insurance industry. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not too busy, please put your hands together for Olola, Olabode, Ogunlana. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, thank you. Permit me to say this, sir. As we appreciate you from time to time, I know you are a man of courtesy. You might not need to stand up. It's your day. So just be relaxed and be very comfortable, sir, so that we don't intend to stress you in any way. God bless you, sir. Okay, permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce somebody who, when I looked at his profile, I was particularly excited that indeed he's qualified to be the chairman of the planning committee of this event, and is no other person than the chairman of the planning committee. Who is the chairman of this planning committee? Is no other person. He's a chartered insurer and an administrator of repute. He was born in 1940. He attended St. Jude's School, Ebutemeta, Molosi College, Ijebigbo, and Ogun State University, Agowoye. His career dates back to 1960, where he worked with Royal Exchange, Yorkshire Insurance Company, Surrey, England. In 1965, he became the branch manager of Great Nigeria Insurance and later rose through the rank to the position of DGM in Niger Insurance. And of course, he later became the MD CEO of Niger Insurance. He was a visiting lecturer to WAI, that's the West African Insurance Institute in Banjul, Gambia. A member of the prestigious Lagos Island Club, Ikoyi Club, Abekuta Club, and so many clubs. He has served and is presently serving on several boards. Permit me, an interesting thing, out of all the accomplishment of the chairman of today's occasion, of this first segment, one of the things that struck me is the fact that his hobbies, he likes to sing. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me today to welcome Dr. Uniwide Adelani Kendi. God bless you. Let's put our hands together even as he comes. You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much. He's coming to give us his opening remark as the chairman. Keep clapping till he gets to me, please, if your hands are not too busy. Thank you, thank you. God bless you, sir.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I have to thank you, MC, for all you have said about me. I was even surprised. Now, on behalf of the Olola, okay, thank you. On behalf of the Olola Ogunlana at 70, in the insurance industry event planning committee, I have the pleasure to welcome you all to this epoch-making occasion. Olola Olabode Ogunlana, the doyen of insurance, an exemplary leader of thought, and an embodiment of excellence had served the insurance industry for 70 years from 2nd April 1952, during which he made a outstanding contribution towards the growth and development of the industry and the country at large. It is in recognition of Olola's contributions that the various arms of the insurance industry, under the auspices of the Insurance Industry Consultative Council, IICC, with National Insurance Commission, the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, the Nigerian Insurers Association, the Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers, the Institute of Adjusters of Nigeria, as members, decided to pull resources together to appreciate and celebrate the doyen of insurance. To mark this occasion, a symposium has been organized with the theme, Prudent Management, the Key to National Salvation. The symposium will be in 2 sessions. At the first session, 3 of Olola's papers presented at different occasions, which focus on the theme, will be reviewed and discussed. Thereafter, Olola himself will give a keynote address to open the second session. The subject, the sub-theme, leadership role in the institutions and society, the repositioning the insurance industry. The symposium will surely be informative, thrilling, and beneficial to every one of us in the public and private sectors of the Nigerian economy. I therefore enjoin you to participate actively so that an all-round success of the occasion could be achieved. I cannot end this address without expressing our profound gratitude to the moderators, discussants, and speakers for accepting and honoring our invitation. My appreciation also goes to the sponsors, including IICC, Leadway Assurance, NEM Insurance, ICO Insurance, and Skip Nigeria & Co. Limited, whilst we appreciate the management of the Metropolitan Club for their understanding. Let me thank members of my committee, I believe they're all here, for their resourcefulness, commitment, and dedication towards making today a memorable and epoch event in the life of our doyen Olola Olabode Ogunlana and the Nigerian insurance industry. Once again, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you and wish you a pleasant day. God bless you. Thank you.
Once again, let's put our hands together. Let's put our hands together once again for the Chairman Planning Committee or Chairman Celebration Committee of this event. Once again, I'd like to appreciate Dr. A. Kende Oniwide. Let's put our hands together for him as he gladly takes his seat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I also want to I will work with the protocols to be able to know some of our dignitaries when they walk to this hall so that I can recognize them as at when due. Like I said, we have to give honor to whom honor is due. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, the chairman of the celebration committee, for that short address. And I'd like to just say that, like I promised, this event, we are going to do it without wasting anybody's time. We'll make everybody as comfortable as possible. Of course, the segment that we'll be going to shortly, we're going to have the chairman of that particular segment, who is incidentally is the chairman of today's occasion in the person of Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. But shortly before I call him up, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to inform us that we're going to watch a documentary. We're going to watch a documentary of the times and life of Olabode Ogunlana. Things he has done, some things probably that you don't even know about him. He incidentally, I'm aware that he's not in the know of some of the things that he will see today in the documentary. So ladies and gentlemen, as the documentary rolls, I'd like us to pay attention. It's going to be just for like 18-20 minutes. Pay attention to the documentary, because all that we are doing today is to celebrate 70 years of service in this insurance industry. So ladies and gentlemen, technical crew, I'd like the documentary to roll immediately so that we look at it. Thank you.
The man, Olola Ogunlana. Olola Olabode Ogunlana is the doyen of insurance in Nigeria. He was in full-time employment in the insurance industry for 50 years, from 1952 to 2002. He served during this period variously as an underwriter, broker, tutor, and risk management consultant. Olola was educated at Methodist Boys High School, Lagos, Nigeria, Mary Lebone College of Commerce, London, now part of Westminster University, the Chartered Insurance Institute of London, where he had the privilege of being one of the first 3 full-time students under Professor W.A. Dinsdale many years before the establishment of the College of Insurance. Olola holds 2 MBA degrees from both Henley Management College and Brunel University. His career and journey in the insurance industry.
I plan to be an architect, and my A-level subjects, fine arts, technical drawing, and physics. I joined Royal Exchange on the 2nd of April, if I remember rightly, 1952. Within a year, I'd become a sectional leader, and my boss thought that I would be a good insurance man and urged me to start taking the insurance exams for fun. That was the way I saw it. So when they advertised for the insurance scholarships, I put in. And lo and behold, I and 2 others got it. So I forgot architecture and zeroed in on insurance. The Premier of Western Region, Chief Olola, insisted that we must go to a full-time college. And there was no such thing in those days. You were articled to an insurance firm in the city, then all along the line, you will become something. But Chief Olola said, no, these young men, 3 of us, were being sent so that we will make insurance managers of them. Western Nigeria was in a hurry, so start a program for them. And that was how the Chartered Insurance Institute of London started a full-time course for the 3 of us, with Professor Dinsdale himself taking the classes. We will report to the city at 8:30 in the morning, and his auntie office will be converted into a classroom. And we work with us until about 1. Then we go down to the dive, as we call it, for lunch. And we come back again at 2:30. But at 4:30, we leave for the College of Commerce, which only run evening classes then. And with such an arrangement, I mean, when we go in the evenings, we are going for revision, sort of. Because Professor Dinsdale wrote many of the books for insurance studies in those days. I mean, hearing from the horse's mouth is superior to reading textbooks. I came back from London in September 1958 and had my first management appointment at Ibadan, Royal Exchange. Of course, the Western Nigeria in those days went as far as Warri and Ughelli, Abraka, that kind of thing, and Asaba. And, I was always on the road. And on the 23rd of December each year, they would take my car away and throw it away and give me a new one. It was very interesting. With my background, I enjoyed every bit of it, training myself all along. And it made a true Nigerian of me. 17th of March, I was transferred to Lagos to take over from the manager of the New Africa Insurance Company, which was a subsidiary of the Royal Exchange. My boss eventually retired by EF Olabode, and I took over. And every evening at 4:30, I turned my office into a classroom because I wanted everybody to be qualified like myself. So I would give them classes, and they started taking the exams. Then I left Royal Exchange in 1968 to assist with Great Nigeria Insurance Company, which had been started by the Western Nigerian government at independence. I did a spell of 5 years with them. And the last part of my employment with Great Nigeria, I served as technical assistant to the federal government in the formation of NICON, National Insurance Corporation, 1973. And at that time, the NICON, they were having hiccups. So I was asked to go there and take over the management of the company from the expatriate who was running it then. I think I got to them in 73, May or thereabout. But I had to leave abruptly because with my mode of life, I couldn't fit into the public sector. By training, outlook, and all the other features, I was more shaped for service in the private sector. So I left Nikon and started my own outfit, FIM, Finance, Insurance and Management Consultancy. I'd always been very strong on training, staff training and development. So we ran courses for other non-insurance organizations. Of course, our emphasis was on insurance. And we were combining risk management, staff training and development, and all sorts. Then the new decree came and said that if you're going to be a broker, you have to register a new company. That was when we registered Skip Nigeria & Co. Originally, it was Standard Chartered Insurance Brokers, because we were in partnership with the Standard Chartered Bank. We had controlling share of 60, they had 40. But when I decided that we would have a full-time trading subsidiary, the Insurance Training Center at Ogere, the bank didn't share my vision. They think it was money down the drain. And when I took them to Ogere, which is about 60 kilometers from Lagos on the new Ibadan Express road, they asked me, here, in the middle of nowhere, in this jungle, oh, we cannot make money. And I told them, yes, I don't blame you. You want money. But what I want is more than money. I'm looking forward to the future of my country. I have a quiet place. I want a quiet place where I can train young people. And I remember year 1987, 4 of my students performed wonderfully well in the Chartered Insurance Institute exams. One of them got 5 papers at one sitting. Kunle Ogunlana'S, who is the current president of the Chartered Insurance Institute today. And 2 others got 4 papers at one go, and a few others got 3 papers. In any endeavor, training and staff development is very important. But here, people don't see the importance of it.
Among other things, he was the first Nigerian managing director of Nikon and was an underwriting member of Lloyd's of London. For 10 years, he incorporated Skip Nigeria & Co. Limited. In 1978, he is currently the chairman of Skip Nigeria & Co. Limited. the leading insurance brokers in Nigeria. He was a founding member of the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, of which he was the president. What his wife and son said about him.
He's a loving father, a loving husband, and I would say, because I believe in reincarnation, if I come back again, I would like to have him as my husband.
Obviously, as my father, I'm very proud of his achievements in the industry for this time period of 70 years. As the ED of SCIB, obviously I'm inspired, I'm motivated. 70 years or 10, that's a lifetime. So for one person to achieve that in the industry, that's amazing.
I was very, very keen on insurance. And I think he started this in 1952, if I'm correct. And he has always been talking about this. And he had in mind of starting a school of his own. And with this in mind, after we got married and we came back, he decided that he would like to establish a school in his hometown, Ugiri. So we went there and he started the insurance training center. That was what it was called then when it was started. While he was doing the training, he was working all day. Sometimes he had to come back as late as 11 p.m. And I would say to him, what is happening? He said, well, I have to get my students through this insurance. So he has shown so much love for this. And I'm happy that marking his 70 years on the job, that's taken him so far.
Ogunlana is someone that we all look up to, emanate in any way, in every sense of it. It's been in terms of the work they do, in terms of the output of his company, what they do in SCIB, and it's a reflection of him also, the service they render.
Well, first, the unwritten. The unwritten one is those who worked with him and those who even knew him in other spheres beyond insurance is his thoroughness. He exhibited thoroughness and organization.
This is an individual that is generally known in the industry. Haven't been there longer than most of us. I have never worked with him, but his influence upon the market, having been the first chief executive, Nigerian chief executive of the biggest insurance company then, Nikon. Definitely you are bound to know of him or have learned of him. So that to that extent, yes, we've related with him as a leader of the industry, as someone who pioneered several issues, several ideals within the industry.
The man who is determined to achieve anything he wants to achieve. It has always been success all through his life.
He's extremely disciplined as a person, which is very important. Punctuality, and that ties into discipline. And the third one is humility. For somebody that has achieved so much, has been exposed to so many different people at different levels, heads of states, kings and queens. He's quite a humble person. This thing of being prepared, and that would be because of his background in the Boy Scouts of Nigeria, always prepared. Being a visionary, he looks very far into the future, and that's very important when you're a leader, to be visionary. And then also the ability to engage people of, from different walks of life, all ages, whether you're young, you're old, whatever your personal circumstances, and make you feel comfortable and be able to relate to you. And the last one, the seventh one, probably the most important one, is being about action-centered leadership, and that ties into human capacity development you mentioned. If you look at his background, so when he was still in working and executive capacity, a lot of training, not just for himself, but for others around him.
Yeah, I came across with him in work capacity in 1961. He was manager at the Royal Exchange Assurance while I was an insurance clerk. And when I traveled abroad, he was still working with Royal Exchange Assurance. And in 1970, I returned to Nigeria and got a job with great Nigerian insurance company where Olola happens to be the managing director. And then we continued. And in fact, Olola mentored me. Olola, I'm one of the mentees of Olola. He mentored me.
I joined the insurance industry in 1985 through Sir Hazan Olushola Odukale, the founder of Leadway Assurance Company. And because of his closeness to Olabode Ogunlana, I got to meet, to know, and to relate effectively with Olola Ogunlana since 1985. As a matter of fact, I'm one of the very few people that are privileged to attend the Insurance Training Center Ogere.
So it's been a good source of inspiration to me also, and a good source of inspiration to Leadway. Now, Olola Ogunlana did not directly push Leadway. We know his standard, and Olola Ogunlana will only work with you if you can meet his standard.
He's always focused and determined to achieve whatever he wants to achieve. He has always been another man. That's why we all respect him in the industry, because of good qualities in life.
Baba is someone that each time you meet with him, you always go back with one lesson or the other. So Baba is someone who is ever relevant.
In that capacity, you need to plan, organize for how the institute has to grow and develop from time to time.
Yeah, sometimes, we wish that, I pray that we'll have him around for much longer. And I think we need to take advantage of the opportunity we have, in that we should keep close to him so that, he can guide us when we need assistance. We can learn from his wealth of experience. And there's no doubt about it that, he is one of the icons of the industry, one of those elders that, we should tap from his experience, from his wisdom, from his knowledge. And I know for a fact that if we call on him for anything, he will not say no.
Training should continue to go on in insurance as before. Olala believed in training. That is why he established the school of training in Ogere. We continue to be focused today. Practitioners should go through training all the time, like every other business.
I'm one of the beneficiaries of Insurance Training Center in Ogere. That's where I did a lot of my training.
This is someone who loved the industry and didn't make any pretense about it. He took the industry as his soul, and has done so many things. I remember then he he himself may probably not look at it that way, but as it appeared to me, when he established that institution in Ogere, I believe it was intended to train leaders for the sector. And to me, it takes someone who is quite mindful of the industry to go all the way to set up such an institution.
He is a foundation member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, later served as president, a member of the World Organization of the Scout Movement since 1942, and served the movement in various capacities such as Chairman Africa Scout Committee, member of the World Scout Committee, and Vice Chairman of that body. He has been a trustee and member of the board of the University of Ibadan Endowment Fund since 1973, and he is currently chairman of that body.
They are achieving the objectives for which the organization was set up. To preach the good news that people should be insurance conscious, so that the contribution of the various insurance companies to the GDP of their countries can improve substantially. Let's come home to Nigeria. The contribution of insurance to the GDP is very low. So we must get our acts together, set up proper marketing strategies. We need to go into the area of research and development and to use information technology to drive our business today.
Well, it's just a wonderful phenomenon for this to be happening. I even think maybe we should check the Guinness Book of Records whether you would have someone who has worked, actively in the same industry in full professional capacity, for 70 years straight. It's something we need to check. It's just really awesome. It's just awesome for us to be celebrating this man, at this time. It's a phenomenon that we probably will not see in many lifetimes.
Let's put our hands together. Exciting. Like the last speaker said, he talked about being a phenomenon. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have just looked at the documentary of the life, times, and seasons of Olola, Olabode, Ogunlana'S. Let's put our hands together. Thank you, sir, for all that you've done for this great industry. Permit me, ladies and gentlemen, I watched that documentary with keen interest, and I observed that Olola is a man who believes he's a mentor. And of course, I've seen some of his mentees in those videos, in that particular documentary. And I must say, and I'm thinking that maybe Olola chooses who he mentors, because everybody he mentors happens to be handsome. And I'm thinking that, is it because Olola himself is handsome? You agree with me? All the people that spoke, ranging from Sir Mufta Oyegunle to Mr. Sholati Numbu, Oye Dukale, handsome guys. Insurance industry are full of handsome. No wonder Olola's wife said, if there's anything like coming again, I will see him get married to him. Put your hands together once again for Olola Olabode Ogunlana'. Thank you so very much. He's a man that believes in training. I recall when some of us joined the insurance industry in year 1993. One of the places I had the opportunity of visiting for a training was at Ogere. And it was while I got there, I got to know that he's one of our industry mentors that actually put this piece together. It's what, and I sit back today and I'm like, wow, men like Olola, Olabode Ogunlana' has believed so much in impacting knowledge, grooming people to become successful individuals in their chosen career. Thank you so much once again, sir, for all you've done. Please put your hands together for Olola. Thank you so much. Having said that, I'd like to just reinforce the point I've made earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, that the Insurance Industry Consultative Council, which is a body that brings together, we are particularly excited that every arm of the industry, from ELAN to NCRIB to NIA to CIN to NICOM, we all came together to celebrate one of our own, of putting 70 years in his chosen career. Please, we are all part of IICC. Let's put our hands together for ourselves. We are the main sponsors of this event, and we are particularly excited that we are celebrating a living legend. Thank you so much. We have some companies that have also sponsored this event. We have companies like NEM Insurance, we have ICO, we have Skib, we have Leadway, I think, and all of that. So all of those people, all those companies and IICC put this piece together. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Like I promised us earlier on, we are aware of our Muslims brothers and sisters, and we know that today is Friday. We are also having that at the back of our mind. So please be assured that we will tidy this up. This event, we'll do it in a jiffy, and it will be an opportunity for you to go and attend the Friday prayers. This event has 2 segments. I must also say that after this first segment, we have another segment, but we are wrapping everything up in the next 15, max 20 minutes. We'll wrap up the first segment. We'll take a break of like 15 or 10 minutes. Then we'll go into the second segment. So please sit back, relax. And I want to trust that because we all have identified with Olola, we will not leave here in a hurry. We'll go through the proceedings together so that we can have a fruitful and an exciting outing this morning. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just move straight away without much ado to introduce somebody that will also introduce another person. The reason why I'm saying this is this gentleman that I'm going to call to come and introduce the moderator and the chairman of the session that we're going into is a close friend of Olola, Olabode, Ogunlana. They've been friends for 40-something years. And incidentally, this man also is a perfect gentleman, handsome man. And I'm looking at, okay, if some of these men are 80-something years, 70-something, and I'm only 50, and I'm like, God, I want to be like this man when I get to that age. They're still looking together. In fact, the gentleman that I'm going to be introducing this morning is no other person than Chief Ajibola Olusoya Ogunshola. Chief, please put your hands together for him. Chief Ajibola Olusoya Ogunshola is a close friend and ally of Olola. Of course, we all know him as the fine gentleman behind the Punch newspaper. And Punch newspaper, whether online or physical, has been the most widely read newspaper in this country. Once again, without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to bring to this podium Chief Ogunshola Olusoya Ajibola. Please put your hands together. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my duty is to introduce the chairman and moderator of this symposium. But I noticed that the MC mentioned the handsomeness of Olola Ogunlana. When he was managing director of Nikon, and I was a manager under him, I noticed that the 2 or 3 times that we happened to meet in the washroom, after he washed his hands, he would bring out an ointment from his pocket and rub his hands. It might have been Vaseline or some other ointment. That was my first time of seeing a man, an adult, do so. The chairman of today, who is also going to be the moderator of this first symposium, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, attained the age of 80 on the 4th day of January this year. It is therefore remarkable that on the date Olola Ogunlana entered the insurance world, Bolaji Akinyemi was only 10 years and 3 months old. His father, the late Reverend Canon Josiah Akinyemi, was among the leading lights in educational development in the former Western region. Olabode College was for almost a century the center of intellection in West Africa. It was affiliated to University of Durham in the United Kingdom. In 1952, which happened to be the same year that Olola Ogunlana entered the insurance industry, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi's father graduated with a BA degree from Olabode College, thus bagging the BA degree of University of Durham. That's his father. He became the principal of Ilesha Grammar School and later of St. Andrew's College, Oyo, which was a leading teacher training college in the country in his time. It was therefore not surprising that for secondary education, his eldest son, Bolaji Akinwande, attended Igbobi College in Lagos, which was then a mission school, and for higher secondary, Christ School at Ekiti, in today's Ekiti State. He then proceeded to Temple University and then Tufts University, both in the USA, for his bachelor's and master's degrees, respectively. Thereafter, as if to complete the trinity of the letter T in his adult education, he proceeded to Trinity College, Oxford, in United Kingdom, for his PhD degree, which he attained at the remarkable age of 27. His father had also been a politician of note. He represented Ilesha in the Federal House of Representatives from 1959 to 1964, and later in the first military interregnum, became a commissioner for local government in Western region. Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Doctor of Philosophy from Trinity College, University of Oxford, Professor of Political Science at the University of Lagos, 1983 to 1985, Visiting Fellow at St. John's College, University of Cambridge, 1984, Director General of Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, at the age of 33 for 8 years, from 1977 to 1985, Minister of External Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1985 to 1987, Commander of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 2022, Deputy Chairman of 2014 National Political Reform Conference, unique public intellectual, quintessential federalist, etc., etc. It is my pleasure and honor to invite you to be the chairman of today and moderator of this august symposium in honor of Olabode Ogunlana, Doyen of Insurance.
Please come up stage, sir. Let's keep clapping for Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Keep clapping till he gets here, please. Thank you, sir. He's our able chairman and the moderator of this session. Please ensure all the mics on stage is working. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Chairman, you're welcome. I would just like to hand over the proceedings to Mr. Chairman to give his introductory remark. Immediately after that, I'll call in the other discussant. Or I think I should reverse the order. Let me call on the other discussant before Mr. Chairman takes full charge of the proceeding. To join Mr. Chairman on stage, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to welcome on stage Chief E. Oladipo Yemiton. Yemiton? Okay. Yemiton. Okay. Yemiton. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together once again for him. You're welcome, sir. Thank you. God bless you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I would also like to bring on stage this morning Dr. Olufemi Oyetunji. Dr. Olufemi Oyetunji, please. Thank you. Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, I'd like to bring on stage as well Professor Duro Oni. Professor Duro Oni, please, you're welcome. Thank you, distinguished gentlemen. They are all here to honor Olola Olabode Ogunlana. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just hand over. Yes, you can. I'd just like to hand over the proceedings to the chairman of this session, who is incidentally is also the moderator. Mr. Chairman, sir, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. MC, and I must thank Mr. Ogunlana'S for the brilliant remarks he made about me through my father. I thought it was only when I was misbehaving that people usually referred to my father to caution me. But this morning, I haven't misbehaved. I've been on my best behavior. Thank you. I've been on my best behavior. Well, I've been given a few minutes to make my remarks. When Olola approached me to take part in this event, there was so much talking going on. It was in the anteroom of the club. And I just vaguely heard something about 70 years. So I said, all right. And I walked away. And then I thought, he's only 70 years, but I am 80 years. But, you know, being a diplomat, we are trained not to be offensive. So I didn't go back to him to say, you are 70 and you... So I kept quiet. It was when I then got the documents that I then realized we were celebrating 70 years of his contribution to the insurance business in Nigeria. I don't know much about the insurance business. And my relationship with them, if I were to think about it, I wouldn't be here. Because I have, since 1962, I've been paying my premium. I've never made any claim. The only time, no, 2 times, when I made a claim, they found clauses in the agreement for them to avoid paying me anything. But, okay, here am I, to join in a modest way, a celebration of a man who deserves to be celebrated. I can see several of us, carrying this. Mine is not a fashion statement. I had a disagreement with my horse. We disagreed, and I ended up on the floor with his hoofs on my back. And since then, I have been paying the premium of having a disagreement with my horse. So I have learned not to disagree with anybody. I thank you, Olola, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity. It's not just to moderate this, to join in celebrating you. And I believe the only reason why you've asked me here today is to ask you to come up with written something that will allow you to insure the world. Because given what is going on in Ukraine, you may need to insure not just all of us here, but the whole world against the madness of two people who are determined not only to bring the world, to bring themselves to an end, but to carry the rest of us along with them. So come up with a written insurance plan. But this time, don't ask me to pay a premium. I'm already 80 years old. So what will you be insuring for those of us who are, at that age? So really, I won't take more of your time. We are here to listen to very interesting people who will do justice. I've read the papers you gave to me, but it's them that the people are here to listen to, not to me. And therefore, I'll call on the MC. You said I should be brief. I am brief and to the point. So who is introducing them? Is it me? No? Somebody is introducing them.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had actually brought them upstage, and I was of the opinion that we should just go on with the proceedings. I've already introduced Dr. Olatunji Femi Oyetunji, sorry. I've already introduced Yemiton, and I've already introduced Mr. Oni as well. So I think we can just go on with the proceeding so that we can make for time. Thank you.
So without any further ado, I call on that's what happens when you put an 80-year-old man in charge. Chief Yemiton, to please make your contribution. Is that working? Any sort of. Yes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The elephant was visiting. He had been invited to come to be honored. And everybody in the city turned up at the town square. Drummers rolled out their drums. Expert dancers had their field day. And people, the elephant himself spoke about himself. And all the dignitaries around, the chiefs, they spoke so well about the elephant. All the while, the tortoise sat in a corner watching all the goings on. Then somebody called and said, Mr. Tortoise, are you not going to talk about the elephant? No, sorry. The master of ceremony came in and said, where is Mr. Tortoise? Mr. Tortoise. And people said, he's somewhere around, and they looked him out. and they discovered that he was just lying quietly. And then people thought the tortoise was dead. Then the master of ceremony said, no. The tortoise is not dead. He's breathing. He's very much alive. But you wouldn't know because of the shell at his back. So the tortoise came out. He got on the field and showed them some acrobatic displays for 1 hour. And then he sat down. Then the master of ceremony called me again and said, Mr. Tortoise, we have seen you, you have come out and we've seen you dancing and clapping with the other people. But are you not going to say something about the elephant? Mr. Tortoise said, what else do you want me to say about the elephant? You have all seen him. He has talked about himself. You all have, the chiefs have talked about himself. What else do you want me to say about the elephant? He's a celebrity. He's an important man in the society. That is why we are honoring him. And he said as follows, Alábàáhùn ó kọjá mo rí nǹkan fìrí bá a bá rí erin ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ pé a rí erin. So, and he kept quiet. This is a folklore by me. This folklore, you can call me a folklorist if you like. This short folklore talks about the event of today. Everybody already knows about the elephant. And there's no other elephant here today other than Olabode Ogunlana. Out of this folklore, I've illustrated this short folklore with 2 Yoruba proverbs, about which I am going to talk later. It is not in my paper, it's not in my script. So I shall go now to my script. At the outset, let me confess that I am not in the insurance industry. However, I am in insurance. For many years now, I have remained undeterred as a consumer of the products of the insurance industry. I have insured a motor vehicle annually for over 60 years. I've insured a land property, a landed property, as well as my life. I remember now that in 1961, I purchased a typewriter at the Kingsway stores at the Marina in Lagos. And believe me, I insured it. Above all, I have shares in a few insurance companies. So I feel that I'm justified on claiming that I am in insurance, even though not as a member. My review of the paper, which Olola Ogunlana delivered on Nigeria insurance industry at the 2021 LCCI Insurance Stakeholders Consultative Forum, is going to be broad and short. As Olola Ogunlana posits in his paper. The Nigerian insurance industry shares in the doldrums faced in common by the Nigerian society right now. And finding a way out of that dilemma has become imperative. I remember a story now about one insurance company that came to Nigeria just a little before our independence in 1960. I believe the company came from America. That company touted itself as a devotee of life insurance writing. The company began to reach out to Nigerians to buy their insurance policies. At the time, an Igbo colleague and I shared the same office room in Lagos. Then this marketer of this company started to come to our office to encourage us to buy life insurance. We pretended that we were always too busy to have time to come for medical tests. Then at a time later, the marketer returned to say, "Dear sirs, don't worry if you cannot come for medical test. Our doctor will visit you and carry out the necessary medical tests at your convenience." That was what happened, and we bought the policies. And I remember that when I had opportunity to make a claim, the company paid me dutifully. These days, I no longer see such commitment to advertise insurance. I remember that my insurance would write a letter to me to remind me of the renewal date of my car insurance. I rarely see such dedication these days. If not for the police tax collectors on the roads and the unwavering demands of issuers of vehicle license, more than half of the vehicles on our road today will not have insurance at all. Even the ordinary third-party motor insurance policy. As I was writing this paper, I called up a young man who passed out from the university with a first-class certificate. I prodded him in order to know his thoughts about insurance. And what I discovered was that he was blank. Nobody had ever talked about insurance to him, and so he couldn't be bothered. And mind you, he's not one of those jobless graduates. He has something doing. There is therefore the need for the insurance industry to come out the more, to inform, educate, and enlighten the public about their trade. Olola Ogunlana has stressed this in this paper, which I refer to. The role of the industry in the in this country's economy is that important, but the industry appears to be sleeping while Rome is burning. I have observed the preponderance of insurance in developed economies. The mailman comes daily to deliver mail. And when you examine who the senders are, you are shocked to find out they are either insurance this, insurance that, or other callers of attention to the need to pay for or renew one form of service or the other. These are countries where IT facilities will give one the impression that we are already at an age when posting business letters has become outdated. To my mind, the insurance industry is sufficient to sustain a postal service. NIPOST is currently in a comatose situation. Why should the insurance industry not keep NIPOST busy and alive? If that is done, the multiplier effect will be seen easily by the creation of jobs, by the payment of more better dividends to shareholders, and pep up of revenue to the state. It is instructive to note that insurance industry is pervasive in the lives of citizens in developed countries. Many people have health insurance, property insurance, and other forms of policy, all of which help their insurance industry to prosper and expand. The Nigerian insurance industry is aware of what I am going to highlight right now. Many of the traders out there at our market, at Jankara, Ireko, Mushi, Onitsha, and all other markets, as well as the small-scale businessmen, they earn far more than the average white-collar employee. They hardly pay tax because crude oil has rendered our tax system too lazy to collect tax. But when they suffer a disaster, these non-taxpayers, they call on government to take money out of the revenue that came out of tax and other sources to bail them out of their losses. If these prosperous business individuals are sufficiently persuaded to insure their goods and shops and whatnot, they no longer need to ask government to come out and pay for their losses. A journey by road from Lagos to Abeokuta or Ibadan will open an observer's eyes to the array of businesses that have sprung up lined up on both sides of the road. One will wonder whether the insurance company, the insurance industry, have succeeded in winning these people, winning them as customers as much as possible. Why is it that insurance don't go out and knock at their doors and offer them the benefits of insurance products? What about the new vistas for the insurance industry, occasioned by recent developments in the world? COVID-19, war in Ukraine, supply chain hiccups, worldwide floods caused by climate change, buildings collapsing, influx of Chinese investment, and so on and so forth. As one reads through Olola Ogunlana's paper, which I referred to earlier, all these and more are reflected in it. And it is hoped that the insurance practitioners are shining their eyes enough to be able to see the prospects awaiting them through the unfoldment of these occurrences. Earlier on, I reminded us that Olola Ogunlana is a guru of insurance in Nigeria. In those days, the names we were familiar with in the insurance industry, I mean, we Nigerians. I'm sorry, please pardon me for losing my voice. The names we used to hear about were those of Chief E.F. Olabode and that of the unassuming Olabode Ogunlana. After Olola Ogunlana had plowed the fields of insurance long enough, he admitted that he had sufficiently proved the validity of Maslow's theory of needs, and therefore quietly eased himself out in order to allow him time to pursue his interest in Yoruba culture. The result of this endeavor can be gleaned from the Yoruba proverbs served out in his paper referred to above. You know, but I want to talk more about Olola Ogunlana's interest in Yoruba proverbs. He has studied this Yoruba proverbs and has become an expert in it. He has written 3 books in which he parades the beauty of Yoruba proverbs. And a number of them, there's no time for me to say some of these proverbs and the way he has used them and expressed them in order to allow people to know more about Yoruba culture and the insurance industry as well. So I don't want to take your time. I feel I've said a little, and I stop here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's put our hands together once again for Chief Oladipo Yemiton. Let's put our hands together for him. Thank you, thank you, thank you. While he was speaking, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to do the following recognitions. We have with us today the President, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Asiwaju Olawale Cole, CON. Please put your hands together. You're welcome, sir. God bless you, sir. Sitting behind him is the past President, LCCI, Babatunde Paul Ruashe. Please put your hands together for him as well. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. Of course, I'd like to also recognize specially this morning our host. I'm using the word our host because we are in the Metropolitan Club. The president of the club is here with us, Alhaji Olufemi Okunu, SAN. Please put your hands together for Alhaji. God bless you. Thank you so much for coming. And one more introduction before I go back to my discussant. I'd like to recognize the immediate Secretary of AIO, Miss Priscilla Suarez. Please put your hands together for her. Thank you so very much for coming. Okay. Okay. Mr. Chairman has just informed me that Chief Olabode Emmanuel just walked in. Please put your hands together for him. Oh, thank you, sir. God bless you. Thank you so, so much. As dignitaries walk in, I'll take time to introduce and recognize them specially. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. I'd like to quickly, the gentleman that, the first discussant, Chief Oladipo, I will just quickly give us, he was speaking passionately about his encounter with the insurance industry and, of course, about the Yoruba culture. He's a senior citizen who has lived a greater part of his life in Lagos. His education was within and outside this country. He's an author, and, of course, he has the chieftaincy title, Babakpiton of Owu. Babakpiton of Owu. And of course, in the palace, is the historian of the Owu history. He's the historian of the Owu history. He's the president of Egbe Ejinle Yoruba, a social cultural association promoting the practice of Yoruba language and culture. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you are now convinced that he's the one qualified to speak first. Let's put our hands together, of course, for him, for Chief. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you. I would like to also say this, ladies and gentlemen, that the next discussant that will be speaking to us this afternoon or this morning is Professor Duro Oni. Professor Duro Oni is, he has interest in research in theater arts, design and aesthetics, and the Nigerian film industry. He was Deputy Vice Chairman at the University of Lagos from 2013 to 2017, Dean Faculty of Arts from 2009 to 2013, and Head Department of Creative Arts from 2006 to 2009. He was also the Chief Executive of the Federal Government Parastatal Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization from year 2000 to 2006. Professor Duro Oni has 10 books and over 60 articles in national and international outlets. He holds the BFA and MFA degrees in Performing Arts, Designs, and Technology from the Californian Institute of Arts, and he also is a PhD, he has a PhD in Theater Arts from the University of Ibadan. He is an alumnus of IMT, Regional Entrepreneurship Acceleration Program of this School of Management. Some of his recent publications, too numerous to mention, but permit me to say he is a member of the TED Fund Research and Development Standing Committee and the current president of the Nigerian Academy of Letters. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to ask Mr. Chairman, who is the moderator, to continue with the proceeding by Mr. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Our honoree of today, Olola Olabode Ogunlana. The chairman and moderator, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi. Distinguished members of the insurance industry, the chairman and members of the Metropolitan Club here present. I salute Alhaji Olufemi Okunu, our benefactor at the University of Lagos. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the first contact that I had to make this presentation was from Professor Wale Omole, as 12th Vice Chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University. After that, I made a phone call to Olola Olabode Ogunlana. And that was, in fact, a very pleasant phone call. I was so convinced by his tenacity and his panache in terms of what he believed in that I immediately accepted that I'll come and give this short presentation. The Metropolitan Club also holds a special thing for me. The very first time I came here, I was brought by members of the family of Mr. Yinka Lijadu, who of course was also in the insurance industry. In preparing for this presentation, I did a Google search on Olola Ogunlana, looked at his background and his foray in the UK, his initial interest in creative arts, fine arts, and architecture, and then looked very intimately at the lecture that he gave in 1984, which is the lecture that I am reviewing today. A review of Nigeria from oil boom to oil doom. Prudent management, the key to national salvation. This lecture was delivered in 1984. It was delivered at the Federal Polytechnic in Birnin Kebbi in Sokoto State. I would say once indeed upon a country. How many people would dare go to Sokoto State now to give a lecture? But this was what happened. Once indeed upon a country that we call Nigeria. There are several reflections and musings of Olola, whom I would call a seer. He gave a very comprehensive lecture, full of advice, and one would wish that Nigeria had indeed taken to some of the advice tendered in 1984. There are quite a few sayings of the seer, a few reflections. Advice is seldom welcome, and those who need it the most always like it the least. So those who need advice the most always like it the least. Governments, like heavy machines, tend to move too slowly. They also tend to move at a cost too high for the optimum good of the government itself. Olola does advise in the lecture delivered in 1984 that rather than worry over what we can change, we should spend our time and energy fruitfully in trying to cause the desired and possible changes. He did, of course, warn us and caution us that we should not see Nigeria as a country that was doomed, so that our oil didn't bring us boom that would lead to doom. But the question to ask is, where are we now? Has our oil contributed to our boom, or is it leading us to somewhere else? Olola touched on the growth and decline of oil revenues. The dominance of oil as against agriculture problem appearing as early as 1984. Olola spoke on delays in implementing self-financing industrial projects and the issue of bringing in projects that were not even part of the 25-year plan at that time. And one of such gigantic projects was the development of Abuja, which now appears to have taken so much of the revenue. Olola also cautioned that the public sector in Nigeria was beginning to extend to all sectors of the economy without attention to available personnel or expertise. The lecture, if it was delivered today, is still very relevant in 2022. So you could rightly call Olola the man who saw tomorrow. He did propose that we needed to start paying more attention to agriculture, because agriculture was growing at 1%, while the population was growing at 2.5%. So population grows at 2.5, and agriculture was growing at 1%, then obviously that is a result of what we are seeing today, that we cannot appear to be able to feed ourselves as a nation. Initially, when the importation of food started in Nigeria, it was only by the privileged. I remember my in-law, who was then governor of Western State. He bought packets of orange color Uncle Ben's rice. which was the only one that was made for him, while the rest of us ate the regular rice. But that was what it was. But now, we are importing bags and bags and bags of rice, even for everyone. Olola did caution us that we needed to have mechanized farming, to pay attention to mechanized farming for greater productivity and output. He also advocated what I would term as a trickle-down economic program, requesting that each local government should have an industrial estate. These are, of course, very radical views as at 1984. But perhaps also more importantly was his advocacy that accessing bank loans should be based on project validity rather than collateral of landed property. So people gave out some land as collateral. They took heavy loans that didn't do anything. They lost the land, which was really not as valuable. So it's a very radical thing that what you actually need to do is to look at the viability of the project, assess that, and then give whatever loans that you want to give in respect of that. Only recently, I was chairman of the visitation panel to the Federal Polytechnic offer. And we had a lot of students' projects. They were all individual projects. They were all projects that were written by one man to try to solve whatever problem that we were thinking of. And we said, since we are a polytechnic, why don't you have 10 people working on a project and trying to find solution to a specific problem? And that for us meant that we needed something a little more cogent in terms of our development. Prudent management and the Nigerian economy. The direct effects of natural resources on economic growth, commonly known as the Dutch disease, relates to an appreciation in the real exchange of a country due to the inflow of substantial amounts of foreign currency through the foreign sales of the products. This appreciation establishes equilibrium in the labor and non-traded goods market, as increased disposable income raises the wages in the non-traded goods sector, and it increases the demand for non-traded goods. The traded non-resources goods sector loses competitiveness as it is partially crowded out by the spending effect. Secondly, the increased wages in the resource sector during a resource boom pull capital and labor away from the other sectors. Entrepreneurial activity and innovation are crowded out by sectoral wage levels in labor as labor gravitates to do that. The indirect effect is manifested in rent-seeking governance. Of course, oil was first discovered in 1859 in Olabode, and then they started exploring it as at 1956 and 58, when we just had like 5,100 barrels per day, 2 years before we got our independence. But what has been our journey so far? And that journey so far, Olola has spent 70 years in the industry. It started in 1952. I was born in 1952. So for all of you 70 years in the industry is what I have spent on planet Earth. And I will be 70 years in December this year by the grace of God. The journey so far. In 1960, our GDP was 4.2 trillion. By 2020, it was 254 trillion. Our life expectancy in 1960 was 37 years old. 37 years for the average Nigerian. In 2020, it raised to 52.8. But our population in 1960 was 45 million people. By 2020, we had 209 million people. So there is a growth, there is a disequilibrium. There is a growth in population, there is a decline in productivity, agricultural products are declining, and we are now faced. Also interesting, the exchange rate to the dollar in 1960 was 72 kobo to the dollar. By 2020, it had risen to 472 naira to the dollar. I think someone said as that yesterday was 582 naira to the dollar. Some are even speculating at 600 naira to the dollar. Of course, my first trip to the United Kingdom on a British Council Fellowship was in 1975. I think the ticket was like 150 naira. Return. I even had the 2-day stop, courtesy of KLM. They were doing a promo in that year, and I left from Kano. 150 naira. Now I think it's about 500,000 naira. So, what is our way forward? The solution to Nigeria's myriad of problems is as complex as the Nigerian context. First, visionary and transformational leadership is the way forward. It is leaders who set and create the right environment for people to give their best. Nigeria needs innovative leaders capable of articulating our common aspirations and creating an overarching vision of a Nigeria of our dreams. The sure way to development is a greater productivity. Production creates value, which leads to growth. Diversification of the economy is compulsory, and it must be in the real and service sectors. Alternative energy, information, technology, and export-driven production of intermediate products should replace oil and dependence on oil. On the policy side, we need to take urgent steps to curtail population growth. We don't have the resources to sustain the teeming population growth we are experiencing in Nigeria. COVID-19 has already exposed us to this. We also need a reorientation from imported goods to locally made goods. We are supposed to be proud of homemade products, but in Nigeria it is a frenzy for imported goods. In conclusion, being prudent depicts holistic thinking, the act of being judicious and considering the future. Strategic plans for all sectors of the economy must be developed and constantly reviewed against global economic factors, trends, and changes. All these and many more were addressed by Olola Ogunlana. I salute him as he turns 70 in another month or two. Nigeria indeed, what? 90. My apology. I salute Olola Ogunlana as he turns 90 in another month or two. Nigeria indeed could have benefited more from his foresight and consistent advocacy in seeing that the country moves in the right direction. It is never too late to do the right things. Happy birthday to Olola Ogunlana. I thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you.
Since he's worried about going to Sokoto now, that should be business for the insurance people. You just insure the lives of, stay at the airport and insure anybody getting on a flight to other places. I was invited recently to Abuja to come and be a special guest. And I said, I will talk by virtual. I don't have to be there physically. And the man said I was a coward, which is true. But if I got kidnapped, who's going to pay? My wife will tell them, keep him. He's a troublemaker anyway. Please, empty God.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Interesting. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are insurance practitioners, and permit me to say that we actually have a product, kidnapping insurance now. Yes, we do. The premium can be very pricey, but we have a product like that, showing that our products are up to the relevance of the times and seasons that we are living in. While the second discussant was making his remark, I'd like to recognize specially some distinguished gentlemen that walked into this room. I'd like to first of all recognize Chief Philip Asiodu. He's a trustee of the Metropolitan Club. He's sitting there. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. And I'd also like to recognize specially Bashorun J.K. Randall, former ICANN president. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And of course, while that was going on also, I'd recognized him earlier on, the president of the NCRIB, Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers, in the person of Barrister Rotimi Edu. Please put your hands together for him. I would like to say this. This piece that I'm holding was put together by Skip Nigeria Limited. This is 70 years in insurance of Olola, Ogunlana'S. And let me announce up front that everybody will go with a copy of this piece. It has, please put your hands together. Of course, Olola is the chairman of SKIB, and everything that you need to know about him, the ones you know, the ones you don't know, is in this piece. So I'd like to encourage you to please ensure that you get your copy. Like the movie producers will say, get your copy. Okay, thank you. Okay, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, the first presenter, incidentally, the discussants were actually reviewing some of the papers that were presented by Olola several years ago. Our first presenter did, our first discussant, was talking about a paper that he presented at LCCI in 2021. Then the second discussant talked about from Nigeria, from oil boom to oil doom, prudent management, the key to national salvation. This was in 1984. And of course, the third discussant will be dwelling on another topic that he will mention when the time comes. Our third discussant, ladies and gentlemen, is no other person than Dr. Femi Oyetunji. Dr. Femi Oyetunji holds a PhD in statistics from the University of Manchester, Institute of Science and Technology, England, a Master's of Science degree in statistics from Imperial College, London, 1977, and a Bachelor of Science degree holder. He has a first-class honors degree in statistics and operational research from the University of Manchester, Institute of Science and Technology, England, in 1976. He started his career as a lecturer in the statistics department of University of Ibadan, Nigeria, in 1980. And in 1987, he moved to the UK, where he worked with Bacon and Woodrow, actuarial and investment consultant, England, until 1992. Femi Oyetunji returned to Nigeria in 1992 after qualifying as an actuary and worked with ICO Insurance PLC from 1992 to to 1999, where he rose to the post of the General Manager, Life Operations. He moved to Crusader Insurance PLC as the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer in January 2000, and he served in that capacity until 2005. Dr. Oyetunji was the founding Managing Director, CEO of Alexander Forbes Consulting Actuaries Nigeria Limited in 2005, and as the Chief Actuary, supervised many large insurance pension schemes. I can go on and on and on. He's the Director of Crusader Sterling Pensions Limited and Tangerine Life. He's a Governing Council member of Nigerian Insurance Association, an ex-president, chairman of council, the Association of Investment Advisors and Portfolio Managers. Ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I'd like to introduce my third discussant, Dr. Oyetunji, to you. Thank you, sir.
I wasn't born when Olola started his career in insurance. So please pardon me. I don't feel that I have the guts to sit down in his presence to make a presentation. And my president is also here, Alhaji Okunu. So let me depart from the previous discussants and spend a few minutes to look at Olola Ogunlana's paper, Celebrating Heroes, which was presented at the NCRIB Recognition of Heroes on the 22nd of August 2019. When I came in, Mr. Shola Chunumbu begged me to take it easy on the insurance industry, and he was sure that I was going to do that because of Olola Ogunlana. First of all, can I join others in congratulating Olola Ogunlana on this landmark, 70 years in the insurance industry, and also to say a big thank you for inviting me to discuss one of your many papers. As you all know, Olola is a prolific writer, writer of many pieces, many books. And one thing that has been consistent has been the concern for leadership, concern for the industry, concern for our country. Celebrating our heroes. Chief Asiodu arrived almost at the beginning of the session, and he sat quietly over there. Thank you for your leadership training, sir. And I'm one of the beneficiaries of the training and mentoring of Olola Ogunlana. I will get to that later, but today I'm going to look at this event is celebration of the Doyen, and the theme is prudent management, the key to national salvation. And of course, the specific paper I'm going to discuss is celebrating heroes. I've been given a very simple assignment, but I think there's a gentleman here that I'm going to blame for what is going to follow. You know, as an actuary, you make a simple assignment complex. I was comfortably riding towards being a chemical engineer before Chief Ajibolo Ogunshola came in and said, no, there's this profession called actuarial science. And thanks to him, not only introducing me to that profession, he ensured that I qualified as a fellow by getting me a secondment with Bacon and Woodrow in the UK. And I'm happy that the paper I'm going to look at is called Celebrating Heroes. And to make this simple assignment complex, I'm going to take the approach of the preacher. I'm told that a good preacher does two things. The first thing is that it defines every single word in the title of his sermon. And then a good preacher closes at least 5 times. So because of the chairman of today, and as celebrant of today, I will make sure that I finish before it's dinner time. Seriously, I think I find the words, the event, the theme, the paper, they're so thought-provoking when you look at individual words. I'm not going to look at every word, but let me use the Oxford English Dictionary to define doyen: the most respected or prominent person in a particular field. Prudent, acting with or showing care and thought of the future. National, relating to or characteristic of a nation. So what's a nation? A large body of people united by a common descent, history, culture, or language, inhabiting a particular country or territory. Salvation, preservation or deliverance from harm, ruin, or loss. Hero, a person who is admired for their courage, outstanding achievement, or noble character. 2 things here are evident. We've gotten it right in the man we're celebrating today. By definition, is a doyen, and by definition, is a hero. But when we talk about prudence, planning towards the future, I wonder if a school certificate holder has enough skills to be prudent. Are we a nation or a country? Deliverance, are we preserving our country, or we're at the stage where we should be praying for deliverance from ruin? These are some of the thoughts that we should have behind our mind when we look at the paper that Olola presented in 2019. My first quote of him from page 2 of that paper is this: "It is indeed commendable of you to remember past leaders whose services you admire and appreciate. The gesture underpins the link between yesterday, the present, and years to come." So a leader must look at the future. You must know where you are, where you're coming from, where you are, and where you're going to. Do we have such in plenty in our country? A leader, by definition, must be visionary. And some of these words, visionary, timely, have been used to describe Olola Ogunlana in the presentation that we watched earlier. Any institution or nation without a history and its appreciation will become forgotten and eventually die. I quote again, Olola Ogunlana in that piece. I believe what Olola means is not that countries, institutions don't have history, but some have decided to neglect recording such things, and some have actually recorded but not doing anything about such things. And for me, as a person, I think it's criminal these days where you have such storage capacity and the processors are getting faster and faster, we don't hold information. In fact, sometimes we intentionally ignore information that we have. I'm not sure whether it's true or not, or whether it is still relevant, but I understand that some things have been taken out of history curriculum in secondary school. If you don't know where you're coming from, you cannot project to the future, you cannot be a prudent manager. Olola notes that honoring heroes will definitely inspire present actors to become excellent players. And this is what we're seeing now. Because we don't, unfortunately, celebrate our heroes, especially our local heroes. One of the things that I find interesting and painful is when I'm cutting my hair at the Koi Club, the barbers there can tell you what happened at every English Premier League club for the last 20 years. But they cannot mention a single local football club in Nigeria. So what has happened? Our best players in the local clubs, the first thing they do is to go abroad. At the same time, depleting the skills that we have here. Olola retired at the age of 70. He then went back to school. He is painting, he is writing. Ladies and gentlemen, I find it very encouraging that the new 70 is now the new 40. Life begins at 70. Well, Olola was looking at succession planning. And one of the quotes, please try and read that paper. Yeah, there's several beautiful quotes. Yeah, as I said, he veered into the world of literature at the age of 70. And sir, you've done an excellent job even in those 20 years. Thank you for giving us wisdom to follow up on. One of the things that I would like to quote on the succession planning in that paper is a quote that he has credited to Plato. Those having touches will pass them on to others. Sir, when I look at Nigeria, I'm not sure that Plato didn't have in mind that there's some cases where there are no touches to pass on. And I believe that's number one, why we're in darkness, and number two, why we don't have enough pipeline of leaders that can really pass torches on. But it is of joy to look around here. I don't want to mention names because of time, to see that in our industry, we do have people with torches to pass on to the next generation. And I think I'm going to get there soon when I discuss the aspect that Olola talked about for Nigeria. Nigeria is a land flowing with milk and honey, but many of our citizens are presently starving and starving and thirsty. Olola says we have all the products that we need, but we're not communicating enough. And I would like to suggest that maybe it's time we tweak those products so that they are relevant. When we're still talking, I joined the insurance industry when I came back in 1992, and we've been talking about the potential of the industry since 1992. When will potential become kinetic? When are we going to get the right skills into the industry? When are we going to look at talking about technology? Olola mentioned it in the interview or in the presentation. Confession. Yeah. I thirst for knowledge, and sometimes I disturb people. I will call, excuse me, I will call Olola, when do you have a few minutes for me, sir? Oh, come on. Yeah, I'll go there, 30 minutes become 2 hours. But this day, I got there, and Olola and his wife were just finishing a lesson on computer science, on computing. Yeah. So if at the age of 90, Olola appreciates the importance of technology, how come technology does not feature that prominently in our industry? I used to chair one of the committees in the industry on IT. We still believe that owning a computer is, what do you call it? Is a show of how senior we are. If we don't do what is necessary, we will become obsolete. We all know what happened to the dinosaurs. Let me start by closing, my first close. When Olola talked about, sorry, let me read the quote. The kind of attitudinal change being advocated will point Nigeria in the right direction. All citizens, young and old, male and female, in all professions and businesses, will know and appreciate the true dimensions of cooperation which will enable all citizenry of this country to live harmoniously and engender unity and prosperity for all. I call this the principle of the concept of commonwealth. Oxford English Dictionary defines it as the general good. I describe it as wealth common to all. It does not make sense to build a huge mansion and surround it with high fence, hiding the beauty of the mansion because of security. The best security anybody can have, it's when out there everybody is secure. My understanding that high fence and barbed wires are to keep prisoners in. But that is what we've had to do. And with your permission, Olola, Chief, the Yorubas say, I hope I get it right, Olowo kan, otoshi mesan, di otoshi mewa. One rich man and 9 poor people, there are 10 poor people. So it doesn't make any sense. Do we have for our governors, for our president, for our legislators? What are our own KPIs? I mean, those ones are even simple. Do you have your PVC? Go out there and vote. Stand and get your vote to be counted. If we don't do that, then we're going to be in serious trouble. Because I quote Olola again. Therefore, each and every one of us here present must perform well for his or her own benefit as well as those of others. The resultant effect will be a better Nigeria and with happy citizens. Nobody, no man can be an island. We either swim together or we sink together. Now, I close. I quote Olola, "You must teach and mentor constantly, as well as pass on the skills and knowledge that you possess to those coming after you for the good of the insurance. I did all that. That's why I stand before you tonight." This was when it was being given the Heroes plaque by NCRIB. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you this morning to attest to that statement by Olola. I am a beneficiary of his teaching and mentorship. And to you, sir, I'm truly grateful. Congratulations. And with your permission, I will keep coming back. And as Priska mentioned, you never say no. So I'll take advantage of that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Oyetunji, please put your hands together for him once more time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's past 12, and I'd like to say that before I ask the chairman to round up the session, I'd like to recognize specially an ambassador who is with us, Ogunsilure. Please put your hands together for him. God bless you, stay with us. A lot of friends, associates, colleagues of Olola, Olabode, they are here to celebrate him. And we don't, like I promised us, the event has 2 segments, and we'd still like to encourage you that the next segment that we're going into, which we're starting right away, we'll just have a short interlude of Oriki that gives strong advocacy for the Yoruba culture. So this event will not be complete, ladies and gentlemen, without that. So very shortly, I will ask them to come in, but I'll just ask the chairman to round up this session. The Oriki team comes in to do their thing. Then we'll go straight into the second session. Like I promised you, the second session will just be exactly 1 hour, 15 minutes, and before 1:30, we'll be out of here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Chairman, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I don't really think I have to do anything. I once attended an event where at the beginning, the chairman gave his own lecture, even though the lecturer was there. And then at the end, he was supposed to give closing remarks. And he said, I will now paraphrase the content of the... Here is Chief Asildu, who actually was quoted in the article in the lecture, Gombe, by Olola. So, you know, the old school deserves a good hand. Thank you very much for this opportunity for us to be here with you. And once again, sir, I know it's going to be in June. We will celebrate you in June. I know you are head table. I'm on table 3. Chief Asildu is head table. Ambassador Ogunsilore is table 3. We will celebrate you. Chief Olabode George is on head table. You know what I mean. Our president is here. So the necessity will be done, right? Happy birthday in advance, son. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our discussants can now take their leave. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. While the discussants take their leave, the Oriki team, please, it's time. You could take your leave, sir. Thank you.
I'm using it. How many do you need? How many do you want? Give me one first. Of multiple varsities, but I am dead illiterate to the nursery rhymes of my mother tongue. I am versed in verbosity and theoretical paradigms, but native intelligence is absent from my certificate bank. One kilo mboba moti. I said it must be his lovely queen or a neighboring king. One kilo jasodo tiko rotalo. And I said it must be the accursed leaf of a neighboring tree. So I ensure my life in your quality word. I crave a metaphor from your artistic life. If you can ensure my wandering muse, I will confront my world of upside down. In the midst of the generational quagmire, I sought to return to the citadel to unlearn my things. But I got to the library, the books were out. I got to the library, the books were gone. Even the chalkboard had left the gathering. But I ensured my life in your quality past. I crave the metaphor from your artistic life.
Okay, thank you so much for this. Let all parties be seated, please. Let everybody be seated in the hall. I know we want to exchange pleasantries. I know we want to reach out to each other, please, so that we can make the best use of our timing. Let's all be seated. I need all the professionals to be seated. I want all my colleagues to be seated. Please, let's be seated. Please, let's be seated. Let's be seated.
From your deep, clear mind, Baba.
Let's be seated, please. Let's be seated. We'll appreciate if everybody's seated at this time. Please, let's be seated. Thank you.
Let's sing and go. Song.
The gentlemen and ladies at the back, please, let's be seated. Please, let's be seated. Please note that I'm about to bring Olola up stage, so let's be seated. Please, let's be seated. I know that we want to exchange pleasantries. Please, let's be seated. I'm about to bring Olola Olabode Ogunlana up stage, please. Okay. Thank you. Let's all settle down. Thank you so much. Please, let's settle down. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We are right in the middle of the second segment already. And I'd like to just immediately commence with the proceedings of the second session. And I would like to also encourage my colleagues in the industry to please, this is not the time for you to leave because critical issues are going to be discussed. So I want to please plead with you to get seated while I go on with this next session. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the patience and what we have done so far. A lot has been said, and we quite appreciate that. While I wait for Olola Olabode, who I'm going to invite to this stage as well, I'd like to immediately invite the gentlemen that will be sitting on this part of the hall. I will start from the Commissioner for Insurance, dear Commissioner, Mr. Thomas. Let's put our hands together for him as he comes on stage. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Any of the seats that makes you comfortable. Thank you. Like somebody said, he said this is we. So we'll just do it. I'll also like to call on Chairman IICC, President and President of CIN, Sir Mufta Oyegunle. Please join us on stage as well. Thank you. Let's put our hands together. Thank you. We are pressed for time. I want to make the best use of this moment. Thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to call on the Chairman of NIA, Mr. Ganiu Musa. Please join us on this stage. Mr. Ganiu Musa, please. Thank you. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Ganiu Musa, who incidentally is the moderator of this segment. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And, okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have, okay, thank you. I've just been informed that Olola is on his way so that we can go into this next session. Thank you. Permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome on stage the person that we're celebrating today, 70 years in insurance, is no other person that we are all here for, in the person of Olola Olabode Ogunlana. He's joining us over here. Please put your hands together. Put your hands together till he gets on stage. Thank you. He's joining us. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Keep clapping for the Olola himself. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. And thank you, audience. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I would just like to immediately hand over to the moderator, in the person of Mr. Ganiu Musa, to go lead us in this session, because we've been here and we need to move very fast. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, MC. Good afternoon, Doyen. I hesitate to, actually mention the name, so I will just stick with Baba, for now. Thank you very much for everything. They are too numerous to, indicate. And I also thank all the guests that have graced this occasion and have stayed the course, so far. I believe we are witnessing, as Shola Tinubu said, what could be rightly described as a phenomenon. And it is a personal honor and privilege for me to be a part of this event. As the MC said, this segment is free form, as it were, and it's another opportunity for us to drink from the cup of wisdom of our Baba as we try to envision our insurance industry in the years ahead. So there are no prepared scripts. It's essentially sitting down, listening to Baba to tell us, based on his years of experience, what we should be prepared for in terms of defining, or there is even envisioning the future of insurance. And of course, after listening to him, we would have the privilege of sharing the views of two of the most critical components of our industry, with our regulator, which sits at the apex, and our institute, which controls everything, including the regulator, the IC. So thank you very much, gentlemen. We will not waste too much time. I will have the honor to hand over the microphone to Baba to take us through. Thank you very much, sir.
Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. The theme of this address is repositioning the Nigerian insurance industry. Repositioning the Nigerian insurance industry. The theme of this address provided by the Celebration Committee presupposes that all is not well, or as it should be with the insurance industry. As it is patently so, I concur with that view. Using the benchmarks of perceived good image and customer satisfaction, what is the perception of insurance by the insuring public, organizations or corporate entities, governments, and the other sectors of the Nigerian financial system? Some within the latter are competitors of the insurance industry. All is not well with the Nigerian financial system as well. For the good of the economy, the country and its people, the time has come for the financial system to be reviewed. By doing so, light will be beamed on some of the ills within the insurance industry. The last review of the Nigerian financial system was in 1976, and it was a very thorough exercise, chairman by the late Professor Okibo. I had the privilege to serve under him as a member of that committee, and a member of that committee is here in front of me, Eugene Okwo, who was the Commissioner of Insurance then. The financial system, like most things in Nigeria of today, needs to be re-examined and revitalized. To start off with the matter of the moment, the positioning of the Nigerian insurance industry, I wish to pose a few questions. How high up in the list of must spending to ensure survival and continuing well-being of individuals, corporate bodies, and governments in this country is insurance? The first question presupposes that we are even on the list. So the next question should be, are we even on the list? And if not, why not? Is the posture of the insurance industry within the national financial system right, correct, and assertive enough? What is the impact of insurance on the social and economic life of this nation? Has the insurance industry a good vision of its role within the national economy? Or is it lacking in vision? Does the Nigerian insurance industry have good visibility? Is the full potential available to the industry fully exploited? Why has insurance not made greater impact on society and the economy? Why has insurance not effected greater penetration in the market? Why is insurance visibility not as dominant as it is for banking? The foregoing and many other questions should, at this session, engage our attention. Our findings and subsequent actions are what will propel the industry to its rightful place and a better future to the overall good of the economy. The 20 minutes have been given for this address. I'm afraid it will not be enough to deal with the various issues at length, nor is it adequate to do so in all its ramifications. I hope, my good audience, that a compressed version of my thoughts on the theme will stimulate your interest. As you are aware, in recent years, I have been more of a consultant in the fields of management, staff training, and manpower development. All these have put me in a unique position to see perspectives of the industry which more often than not, players within it are unaware of. While most players in the industry see the parallel and angular perspectives, I see the oblique perspective in addition, which enables me to criticize objectively. I'm thus able, from time to time, to arouse the industry from its slumber and to stimulate it to make it achieve the best. What I intend to do at this session is to pose questions to which I expect answers from you. I will point out perceived shortcomings. Your contributions will be to provide solutions to rectify them. These, I hope, will enable us as an industry to perform our best to make the desired impact on the life and economy of the nation. I, speaking for myself, see the industry, insurers, reinsurers, adjusters, brokers, other facilitators, and the regulator as one seamless entity. This has to be so, as the strength of a chain is in its weakest link. Besides, the eye sees not itself. You will therefore permit me to be the mirror to show you the reflection of the industry as I see it. Before proceeding further, let us refresh our memory. What is the role of insurance in a nation? It is to protect the wealth of the nation as represented by its many resources, revenue, profits or returns accruing from the exploitation of them, and the consequential fallouts. Number two, to conserve the wealth of the nation as well as to generate additional wealth, all with a view to ensuring the well-being of the nation. As against this, the ordinary man in the street will see the activities of insurance as the ability of the industry to pay claims as and when they arise. This then should be our focus: fair and prompt settlement of claims. NICOM can be of great assistance in this respect. NICOM should take it as a special assignment to ensure that claims are paid fairly and promptly. This will restore the confidence of the public in insurance. We had one or two comments earlier on this morning. At this juncture, I wish to ask yet other questions. What have hitherto constituted impediments to visibility and deeper penetration into the Nigerian market? Why has insurance not made its mark in Nigeria? The reasons are many. Due to time constraint, I shall focus on the cogent ones. These are: one, lack of the insurance industry and the nation. Do the various sectors within the insurance industry collaborate? If they do they collaborate enough? What does your own organization do to obtain competitive edge? Meditate on these two posters and improve on your efforts. Public awareness needs to be consciously made to market an invisible product like insurance, which ours is. Public awareness of the benefits of insurance to individuals, organizations, corporate awareness in all its ramifications must be provided within all sectors and at all levels. This is a crucial area which must be tackled by NICOM, the CIIN, the NIA, the NCRIB, ELAN, and other relevant subsectors within the industry. Ours is a peculiar industry. We are in the business of providing an invisible service. You cannot see, you cannot touch, you cannot feel or smell the products. It is very difficult to conceptualize. Insurance as a product is difficult, but not impossible to market and sell. I've done so for 70 years. Provision of the service and the provider of the service, in our own case, they are inseparable. When you go to the barber's shop, is Philip there? No. Oh, he's the only one that can do my hair. I will come tomorrow. That is what it is. When I used to harp in the old days that my staff should be smartly dressed with handkerchief and tie to match, they thought I was being too fastidious. These are the more reasons we need to train and retrain to know the products, markets, sectors, and business to better appreciate our insureds and the services and solutions required of us. Their changing needs must be borne in mind constantly. We must also learn about their businesses as well to enable us to offer risk management advice. We all, reinsurers, insurers, brokers, agents, and adjusters need distinctive knacks to market, sell, service, and provide customer satisfaction. We need passion. As upholders of ethics and values, we must be professionals. Some, arguably many in Nigeria, think that values and ethics are things of the past. We cannot afford to adopt such an attitude as we are in the business of utmost good faith. One of the tripods on which the stool of insurance stands is Uberimae Fidei. In our business, ethics and values are sacrosanct. NICOM must be involved at all stages in getting the best out of insurance. We are all in it together. The fortune of NICOM is tied up with that of the insurance industry. The more we are together, united and more useful to Nigeria, we shall be. You may ask, why NICOM? As I have repeatedly harped on that name, I need to explain the relationship of NICOM and the insurance industry, which many people do not know. NICOM is not just the regulator. It is also the referee. All good referees in soccer, as in other games, must have played the game before emerging as a referee. In our own case, the referee is our own creation. We created it. It was not forced on us. At a time when the supervisory ministry, for whatever reason, ignored the Nigerian Insurance Supervisory Board, NISB as it was known, we as an industry provided the impetus and opted to give willingly part of our income to set up NICOM as a regulatory body. We recommended to government to set it up because we needed it then, as we still do now. Insurance is the only industry within the Nigerian financial system which contributes towards its regulation. Notwithstanding that what the industry had in mind had been distorted, NICOM continues to serve a good purpose. Its staff is equally knowledgeable in insurance as we are. We and NICOM are aware of the role and importance of insurance to the economy. NICOM, apart from being the watchdog for the public, maintains a level playing field for the benefit of all players. Mr. Commissioner, I commend you and your team. Kindly continue the good work. It is a national service. May God continue to prosper your efforts. NICOM, together with the other facilitators, especially the CIN, must be in the forefront for providing awareness, education, and up-to-date resources to ensure that the industry remains on an even keel and positioned to protect the wealth of the nation, as well as to generate additional wealth. These are all the only ways to reposition the insurance industry. Let Nigeria learn from the more developed economies of the world. We need insurance more than they do. To them, it's a means of putting butter on the slice of bread. To us, it is a means of finding money to plant the wheat before we make the bread, let alone to toast it before we put on the butter. NIA, NCRIB, and other sectoral bodies acting jointly with CIN need to create and provide the awareness on a continuing basis, thus positioned and constantly fulfilling its main duty of meeting claims. The insurance industry will always be visible and relevant. Whilst NICOM, CIN, NIA, and LCIB are charged with being at the forefront of championing awareness, the actual players, brokers, insurers, should be right behind, or arguably should be leading the change themselves. Those individual players who seek to gain the most economic benefits should obviously make the most investment in time, money, and other resources to champion awareness. I want to talk a little about meetings. Meetings needed, but at the right time. The industry must get its priorities right. Meetings need to be held, but at appropriate times, as I said. The best part of our working day must be devoted to either satisfying the needs of the insurance public, that is, ensuring provision of good cover and prompt settlement of claims, or marketing insurance. With the improvement and advance in IT, most industry meetings can now be held on the Zoom, preferably in the late afternoon or early evenings. Do not give servicing of insurance business, which is your main occupation, the fag end of the day. I repeat, the industry needs to get its priorities right. What must we do to remain relevant, visible, and thrive? We need all hands on deck. Insurers and reinsurers need to provide transparent service. All knotty points must be dealt with at inception. When claims occur, we should not quibble. Claims must be adjusted fairly and paid promptly. It is said that justice delayed is justice denied. So we can take a cue from this. Claims delayed is claim denied. In this respect, NICOM must put in place a process to ensure that recalcitrant insurers and reinsurers, the black sheep of the family within the industry, meet their obligations as and when due, as and when advertised. Fair and prompt settlement of claim is our best form of advertisement. All the other things we do thereafter will be like the icing on a cake. The industry should pay more attention to the education of the public and its staff. The various sectors must cooperate and collaborate. NICOM can and should be of great assistance in this respect. I wish to rest my case on this crucial note. All is not well with the insurance industry. We must all accept responsibility for the unsatisfactory state of things. Now it is time to wake up from our slumber. From now on, we must live up to the promise to pay claims fairly and promptly. It is the best form of advertisement. It is the only way to ensure relevance and visibility. I wish to seize this opportunity to express my appreciation to the entire insurance industry, especially the Celebration Committee, for seeing it fit to recognize my modest contribution to the industry. I hope and pray to live to see a virile, repositioned, and positively impactful insurance industry. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that very wonderful delivery. And understandably, the whole hall was fully attentive. You could hear the drop of a pin. And that is what we have come to expect from the doyen. And as usual, the message was very powerful, the delivery very eloquent. And I was going to ask, but now the moderator has just confirmed that indeed the soft copies of the presentation will be made available through the industry associations and the organizing committee for the other participants. I think it was a very sobering message, and there are quite a number of very important takeaways. But for me, the summary is, all is not well with the Nigerian industry. All is not well with the Nigerian state. Because if you put it on a scale of our key role, which was summarized in the presentation, that to protect, to conserve, and to build the wealth of the nation. There are a number of questions that the paper has raised. And we would listen to the perspective of the regulator, who we have been reminded is more or less a creation of the industry, and is not just a regulator but also a referee. And then get the perspective of the institute. We will then take a few questions before we return to the normal programming. As you address from your perspective, I think you should keep at the back of your mind, I think one of the key refrain I got from Olola's paper, which is that the eye doesn't see itself. So, at times we need a slightly different perspective from someone that has seen it all and seen things that we have not seen. So as I pass on the microphone to our Honorable Commissioner for Insurance, he should try to speak to some of the issues or questions raised, especially as it relates to claims payment, which is, as Olola has put it, the true test of our service. And it should not only be prompt, it should be fair. Because we sell intangibles. If you put your money in a bank, if you're in doubt, you can put your ATM and withdraw the money, even if you have to go back inside the hall again and redeposit it. You feel it, you touch it. He also spoke extensively about collaboration amongst the various aspects of the industry. So I would also expect a bit of it from the regulator in the capacity as a referee. And then for CIN, there were issues around training and education, issues around awareness and visibility, which I will also expect the president of the CIN to speak to. And for my colleagues, I will expect the answer to the question as to who are the habitual poachers that will wait for others to train and not make the necessary investment. So thank you very much, Doyen, for giving it to us as it is and drawing our attention to the impediments, some of which, yes, clearly, should not come as a surprise to us. So ladies and gentlemen, may I ask for another resounding round of applause before I hand over the microphone. So, Honorable Commissioner, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Our father, the celebrant, I will ordinarily just come here and say I stand on existing protocol, but I will have to acknowledge some of my mentors that are here, and especially in my present position. Mr. Eugene Okwo and Fola Daniel have been quite instrumental to my education in insurance regulation, and I want to publicly acknowledge their contribution. I'm conscious of the fact that we have time constraint. Otherwise, there are a lot of things that have been raised here, and if you take them line by line, we could make a lecture out of each and every one. And I will remember that our father did mention the issue of customer satisfaction and good image in his first paragraph. It's very critical. I think one pertinent thing that we must understand is that the people that we are meant to serve don't understand our business. And we are not doing enough to make them understand our business. Professor Akinyemi was here. Of course, we all laughed about it. He's made a comment that based on his informed one of the questions raised by the celebrant, the place of insurance spending in family budget. When you don't see value in your spending, it's not likely you want to put so much in that. That is why today, the level of penetration is as low as we still have it, in spite of
the economy of our country, though generally assumed to be so poor, but it's not as poor as what we are experiencing within the insurance sector. Of course, the chairman has asked me to speak about cooperation in the industry. Several steps have been taken, and I believe that it's not probably as bad. We are on the way, though we are quite slow. But I remember as far back as in the late 90s, when we had a WICA conference, I was a very young man in the industry, and I was asked to present a paper relating to cooperation. And one of the recommendations I made then, I think about 1997 or thereabout, and was the fact that we need to begin to have investments that is not solely based on our own resources, but probably collaborate to invest for a bigger yield. We couldn't follow this up, but I also remember Leto Dele, who was then the managing director of Nigerian Re, was chairman of a committee set up by the industry to set up a bank for the insurance sector. Today, one of the smallest banks, the annual profit of one of the smallest banks will probably be comparable, if not better, than the total industry and the total profit of the insurance sector. I mean, you just cast your mind back and think, if you have had a bank then, in terms of spread, in terms of patronage, what it will have done to our sector, and how it will have probably assisted in the distribution of our product. Of course, the big elephant in the house, not the one mentioned by Chief, but in this case, claims, prompt claims settlement. I've heard comments, why wouldn't the regulator close them down if they're not paying claims? Distress management, I want to say here that distress management within the financial services sector is not exactly the same as what it is in the real sector. In the real sector, you are a distributor of Guinness, you can decide to close your shop. Probably your indebtedness will be based on those who have deposited and have not been satisfied, which you can return. Or your bottles that are outside, which you can go and collect and close your shop. You are changing trade. But in a trust-related institution like insurance, banking, it's not exactly the same. Information has become so powerful. I give you an example today. If you hear that central bank is intervening in First Bank, I'm not too sure most of us will wait to finish this lecture. The most likely thing is that we want to make calls to our accounts manager, the MD. Please, can you transfer my funds? And what will that do? It will worsen the situation of the institution. That is what financial services sector looks like, managing distress in the financial services sector. As I stand before you today, there are some companies that have been stopped from writing new businesses, and they have been monitored, but we don't necessarily need to make it public. There are companies that we have incepted the process of getting them out of the system. We don't need to make them public until they are out of the system. As long as they hold our certificates, we definitely have to manage their existence. But I would say, we all know claim settlement is critical. It's important. And companies have been trying, but a few companies are still giving the industry that bad name. On our side, as the regulator, we are developing an application whereby every claim that occurs must be reported immediately within a given period to the commission. Not only that, when the claim is settled, it must also be reported. And we now take the responsibility of monitoring how long such will stay in the books. Of course, there are exemptions to some of these. And we understand what could also lead to extended period of claim settlement. But of course, the basic ones will have been resolved. And I want to say this. In my days in ICO, we realized at some point that we had a lot of maturity claims. I was the head of life assurance then. That a lot of maturity claims were not being claimed. And what did we do? On periodic basis, we make advertisement in the papers. And we will list some of those outstanding claims and ask people to come forward with valid documents to come and make their claims. After a given period, we put those claims funds. We created a fund and we put them there and they will be earning interest. So at any point in time when they show up, they will not just get their claim, but they will get the claims with interest. We were doing that. Is it not possible today for us, because I've had occasions where some claims are unsettled because people have not come forward with valid documents? Can we push ourselves a bit further to, at times, carry out visitation? After all, we visited before when we were procuring the business. Is it not possible to visit at the time of claims if we feel that the claims is staying too long on our books? I think we need to do just a little bit extra than what we have been doing. And in my final words on claims, I will want to encourage my colleagues that we should find more reason to settle claims and less reasons why claims should not be settled. Correspond to the state of our economy. I'm happy to be part of this occasion. And I will say that in my little bit over 40 years in the industry, this is the first time that I will see an assembly of a cross-section of the industry. The old, the not too old, the young. Used to be the shareholders on your neck, the dividends they want, people want to make so much money, and all of that. But at the same time, I think if we stay long enough under your mentorship and tutorship, we are likely to have a change that will impact positively on the insurance sector. I congratulate you, sir. And 70 years invested in the sector you love so much. I would say that the first retreat that we had in the commission then was in Ogere, when it was almost brand new. And it was quite good. Thank you for allowing the sector that you love so much to have a day like this. Gentlemen, ladies, I want to thank you on behalf of the governing board, the management and staff of the commission, for having celebrated a man that has done so much for our sector. Of course, one of the laws, I think 1997 Act or thereabout, he chaired. I think my brother Tunde was also, Oye was also part of that team. We believe that not good enough, but not so bad. I believe that we can do better. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sefai. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask my president to speak for just 5 minutes so that we can also have time to take 1 or 2 questions from the audience. Thank you very much.
Our revered father, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing here today as chairman of Insurance Industry Consultative Council. I'm president of Chartered Insurances of Nigeria because I had the unique privilege to be mentored by late son Olola Odukale, Olola Hazan Odukale, and Olabode Ogunlana. I was in the first set of students to be admitted to the Insurance Training Center, Ogiri. And it was a wonderful opportunity. And I'm happy one of my classmates, she's here today, Oyedamola. I saw her somewhere there. I don't know if she's still there. All we've been talking about today revolves around visibility of the insurance industry, training, mentoring, and moving the industry forward. The truth is that the collapse of the Insurance Training Center, Ogiri, and National Insurance Corporation of Nigeria training schools, for those who benefited from it, I started in Kaduna and they had a training school in Jos. It was indeed a good training ground for many of us. The industry don't have that kind of opportunity again. And, sir, all I can say is that the training school set up by CIN at Asheshe is an attempt, an opportunity to make sure that the industry still have an opportunity to train and to mentor. We have a mentoring program where we encourage the old members of the industry to adopt the younger people and show them the way. And like the commissioner said, gathering here today, I'm sure on his own is indeed a good motivation for many, many people. And I'm so happy, I'm grateful. And on the issue of cooperation, I don't know why Insurance Training Center of Ogiri set up, but I strongly believe if there were better cooperation in the industry then, probably we'll still be benefiting from that school. So let me use this platform to appeal that the training school, the CIN training school, is an opportunity for us to revive training and mentoring in this industry. And we need the cooperation of everybody so that we can achieve this and we can move the industry forward. And on cooperation, sir, let me say that the fact that we are here today is a testimony that indeed the industry is working together. CIN appointed you the doyen of the insurance industry, but when this program was conceptualized, all arms of the industry were called upon to participate. And I'm happy and proud to say that all arms of the industry participated and financed our being here today, which is a thing of joy. I can only hope and pray that we'll continue with this spirit, with this spirit and this strength. The reality is that we still have a lot to do. And as Olola Ogunlana said, is looking forward to moving this industry to the next level in his lifetime. I think the only favor we can do him today is to promise him that this will happen in his lifetime. On that note, sir, once again, I want to say congratulations. We are proud of you. And particularly for those of us that have the privilege to be very, very close to you, we know you've indeed influenced us positively. And we say a big thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, my president. I'm sure we'll all agree that the questions raised by Olola and the issues thrown up are much deeper than what we can address at a forum like this. The good thing is that all the participants here, the core actors in the industry, and I can assure you, sir, that we are going to take, the paper, back to, respective segments, do a deep dive, and, develop actionable plans to address some of the core issues that have been, raised. Of course, we will always come back to you, sir, where we need additional guidance and, and direction as, we seek to continue to benefit from your wisdom and your wealth of experience. We will have time for maybe just one or two questions. If anybody would like to take the floor, just signify by a show of hand. Otherwise, I would invite the MC to round up this segment of the proceedings so that we can then conclude the other segments. Do I have any hands up? Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies, for giving us your attention, for giving us your time. And most importantly, thank you very much, Olola, for the very wonderful delivery and for continuing to look after the interests of our industry. We truly appreciate it. MC, please.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll just take a remark by Mr. Femi Mokiko. Where is Mr. Femi? Please come, sir. Let's put our hands together for him. We need your remark before there are some one or two other things that the industry wants to do in honor of Olola. You have 3 minutes, sir.
I'd like to, should I stand or stay by the existing protocols? My name is Femi Mokiko. I thank God that I'm privileged to be part of this session today. The doyen that we are celebrating today, when I first got a call that something 70, just like the ambassador, I asked myself, I'm close to 70, but I know that my chairman, I find it difficult to mention his name, so I will still continue to call him chairman. I hope you don't mind, sir. My first contact with him was about 40 years ago. Just a little less than 40 years. A young graduate lecturing in one of the academic institutions in the north central part of Nigeria. And I was beginning to experience the typical discriminatory attitude against some of us because of where we come from. And I said, enough is enough. I must relocate to where I belong. And I saw this advert asking for lecturers for a new institute. I had no idea where this institute was. I had no idea where whoever the sponsors were. But I was determined to leave that place. And then we came for the interview. By the time the chairman finished with me, he read my body language and said, Femi, it's like you don't want to take up this offer. Sir, you have not made an offer to me. He said, okay, I'll give you a letter. On your way back to that place where you came from, give it to them at the gate. Where is the place? He said, Ugiri. Ladies and gentlemen, when I got to Ugiri, as soon as they opened the gate, I didn't need anybody to persuade me. Why? At that time in Nigeria, there was a company called National Supply Company of Nigeria, where people were bringing rice. You didn't need to even see the rice. All you needed to do, just know somebody inside. They give you a piece of paper. Somebody is waiting outside to buy that rice. Within 1 minute, you become multi-millionaire. I saw this edifice at Ogere, and I said, any reasonable human being that can put his money in this must be a visionary leader. Whatever support is required, we will give it. My colleague just left now, OVO Juma. I'm sure many of you in the industry, you know him. We were just three. Biodun Akinshola, he should have been here too, but he's in somewhere in Ekiti State. What I told them they would do is to line up with me here and celebrate Baba. Sir, what you planted in us is still growing. What do we want to say about Baba? What do we want to leave out? No time for it. But I'll just highlight three. Your vision, my agony really. You see, this thing we call democracy in this country, it will never take us anywhere. Because the people who take the decision, they are the area boys, the Okada riders. You and I will not vote on that day. I can bet. What do we then get? The dregs. They go there, spend another 4 years, 8 years. We are dancing on the same. In fact, the circle is getting smaller. If it is possible to have an alternative to democracy, by putting, if you go to the oil and gas, you will find a doyen. If you go to manufacturing, you will find a doyen. South, east, west, north. Pick them like they do in China. Assemble all of them. Run this country for us for the next 20 years. How can Ogunlana be leading a team and you won't get results from it? Somebody talked about KPI. That's what we live with in the private sector. Public sector has no respect for it. The network that we have, sir, many of us benefited from it. Most of the people that I know here, I got to know them through you. Pa Udukale, God bless his memory. Baba adopted me as his son. Anytime he was in Ogun State, he must visit us. In fact, when I saw Baba attending our class, and I was to stand in front of the class and teach, I was scared. What do I want to teach about Udukale? Baba will say, me, I didn't do Orthodox education, but I know the unorthodox one. And he was showing it at every stage. Part of your networks are extended to the religious aspect. We were sitting down one day, and they said, Baba Obafemi Awolowo. I said, who? They said, Baba Obafemi Awolowo was coming to the center. Eh? I said, whatever it will take, all of us must take photograph with Baba Obafemi Awolowo. We did. I framed mine. It was the biggest photograph in my house. Put it on the wall. When Baba died and Saraki said, my only regret was that I didn't see Awolowo. I went to look at the picture again. Small me, sitting with Baba. But the painful part for me, of all the pictures in my house, that thief came. The only thing he carried away was that photograph. Until today, I have not seen it. I'm announcing it here publicly. If you find it for me, I will give you 500,000 naira. Our chairman taught us so many things. One of it is self-development. I'm happy somebody mentioned it that at his age, he's still sitting in computer class. He made sure that every one of us that was in that center, we had something to add to ourselves. It was there I knew anything called effective presentation. I didn't know it before. Yet I was a lecturer. Lecturing what? Assembling small students and pretending that I was a local champion. until I saw a bigger champion than myself. We cannot thank you enough, sir. The seed you sowed continues to germinate. The industry is not the only one that owns Baba. He's our product in this country. It's just that Nigeria is such a warped country that we don't know how to use our assets. Otherwise, this is not where this country will be. Thank God for your children. I'm happy they are all doing very well in their own respect. So my prayer will not be for them. It will be for their grandchildren. Anywhere they go, what we planted in our lives that made us what we are today, some of that will plant it in their lives too. And your passion for this nation, I just wish it is possible to still rewind, but it's not possible again. Nigeria has lost the opportunity. So on behalf of Ojuma, Biodun Akinshola, and later a gentleman, Fatogun, we call him Bob, he joined us, and several other hundreds that were in Ogiri, I want to officially and formally congratulate you, wish you happy birthday in advance, and pray that you are just finishing first half. Second half, we will all be present by the grace of God. And if God tardies, there may be extra time, who knows? And then the journey continues. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Put your hands together for him. Thank you. I would like to also call Mrs. Ikeoma Izibe to please come and make some remarks, please. After her, I will take the president of NCRIB, Barrister Rotimi Edu, to also come after Mrs. Ikeoma Izibe. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. The doyen of insurance industry, Olola Olabode Ogunlana, one of the finest gentlemen that I have ever met in my professional life. And a man I'm immensely proud to call my father. And a man that I'm even prouder when he calls me my daughter. Thank you very much. I'd like to make some remarks on the things that have been said on low penetration of insurance, low awareness of insurance, and then collaboration of the insurance industry. I'd like to state that for us to achieve the three nagging things of conquering low awareness, conquering low penetration of insurance, and then again, an all-important thought factor of increasing education and manpower development in our industry. The foundation that will aid towards the achievement of these three would be, if you ask me, collaboration. And collaboration of the regulating entities with the regulator. And let me say this. My distinguished and respectable Commissioner for Insurance is here. We need that collaboration. We know we have started, but we need to take it seriously and go very far. I'd like to tell you, dear sir, that it is not weakness when a regulator paves the way for deep collaboration with regulated entities. You may say that you need us because you need to have regulated entities for you to regulate. But if you ask me, being one of the operators, I would say we need you more. We need the regulator more because having the regulator wield his big stick at operators is one of the greatest things that validate who we are as operators. It is one of the greatest things that instill confidence in the minds of the clients that we have. It is one of the greatest things that will instill confidence in the minds of consumers. And therefore, when you have a well-regulated insurance industry, then we will begin to do those things that will enhance who we are in the industry, we will truly become the sustainable factor to the economy that we are supposed to be. The Olola himself has posed very salient questions for which the chairman of NIA has said that this is not the platform for those questions to be answered because they are deeply rooted in our practice. They are deeply rooted in the things that we do. Yes, indeed, we will take those things home, create another platform where we will address them deeply. But I would like to say that when we come together, then, that is when we will come out stronger as an industry. That is when we can truly suggest ways that we think will carry what we do deeper to achieve our goals. And the regulator, therefore, should not shy away in listening to the operators when we are making suggestions that will create an enabling environment for our businesses to survive. Because apart from also remembering those for which we are in business, we are also in the business, that our various companies will survive. And we operators, let us remember that anybody who has purchased insurance is worthy to receive the very reason for which he has purchased insurance in the first place. And what that person has bought at the end of the day is claims settlement. And therefore, we must find every way to make that happen because that is an unspoken act that radiates confidence and then therefore drives word-of-mouth advertising. And then, in my making my little remark, I would like to state that we should take seriously also the issue of education and manpower development. And we have to ask ourselves, do we take those things, do we take it very seriously? Do we consistently train and retrain ourselves so that we will be worthy of who we are? Are we holding them well so that we'll be proud to say that the people coming up? But more importantly, we must ask ourselves today as practitioners and as professionals, who are we passing the torch to? If we have not asked ourselves that question and if we have not gotten the right answer to that question, then it means that our work is far from being done. So let us take it seriously, passing the torch to the people that are going to come after us, so that maybe one day, by the special grace of God, we may be celebrated as we all join hands today to celebrate our father, the Olola himself. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
He said that Olola Ogunlana is an icon, doyen of the industry in Nigeria and Africa, is being modest, that any write-up of insurance in the globe without his name written in gold will be incomplete, and I agree with him. Olola Ogunlana is a living, fulfilled life, and is also a family man, devoted Barrister Rutimedu to give his remark while we round up this session.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir. I greet our papa and would like to say a big congratulations again and again. A lot of people have congratulated you today because you deserve it. You are worthy of it. And so I join others too. And so goes to all the guests. I say very good afternoon to you. Representing my industry has not been easy because brokers are seen as pesters sometimes because we try to deepen insurance. We try to make sure that we educate people about insurance. And that was where I craved my trust of office this year as the president to be brokers' centricism. But I soon learned from the speeches of Baba and the Commissioner for Insurance that we actually should be talking about insurance centricism, which will make sure that we insure almost the entire nation. We are put in second place in the economy. Maybe not even second place. I think Yahoo has taken second after the banks. But we must take back our position. And in doing that, I must recognize the efforts of the regulator. The regulator has opened more than enough vistas for us to be able to develop, to be able to broaden insurance. And I think it is left for the industry to actually sit down and see how we can collaborate to do that, how we can put our synergies together. Unnecessary competition is there. It can be overcome. Everybody needs money, so we want to do business at all costs. But I think if, again, we look at the benefits, we look at the overall interest, we should be able to, put that behind us and really make the best out of the situation. Secondly, education. I think that's one of the pivots of what has brought everybody here this afternoon. Baba is an ardent lover of knowledge. And he has shown this single-handedly and jointly in every of his steps in the industry. Being 70 years in a profession, honestly, not many people can recount that. Some people would have gone into trading, some would have gone into other classes of business. But Papa has doggedly and steadfastly been pursuing insurance for everybody seated here this afternoon. Not only the Ogiri School, I'm sure there has never been a time that this gentleman will voice it out how many people he must have or he might have, contributed to their education. He's not a proud man, as far as I'm concerned, very humble, diligent, and gentle. Because when I met Baba, I always see him afar. Then once in a while, I've moved closer to say hello, sir. But I've not really and truly been so close until recently when NCRIB decided to, honor him in a way. And I looked at it. When we were putting it together, I said, there's somebody in the industry celebrating 70th. What do we do? I hear of Baba Ogunlana. Yes, Skib is popular, Skib is big, but the man behind it is very quiet. And I believe that Skib, being an insurance broking firm, has contributed a lot through Papa here. So we invited him. My pleasure was when Baba came, we were thinking, how is this old man going to climb our 4-level story building? To my dismay, Baba said he was going to climb. And he did climb. He waited throughout the ceremony. And when we were descending, I was going with him. I still couldn't pin my mind on what I'm going to say I have learned from him until when we got down and he stood, he looked back, looked at the building, and he held my hand and said, you people, you have tried. And I said, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, because my own aim with my team this year is to ensure that we take insurance to the doorstep of every individual as much as we can. All my chapter offices throughout the country, they are organizing walks to educate people at car parks, at bus stations and all the rest. And we are trying to ensure that we deepen insurance by visiting virtually all associations that we can touch. We've gone to NIA, Nigerian Institute of Architects. We were to be at the tax office yesterday, but unfortunately, the air transportation didn't allow me to do that. We have a list of other places we have visited, and not taking your time. I think it is time that this industry sits down together. Let us look at one thing that we can use to drive insurance. In some climes, they use sports to drive insurance because sports is more or less a household name. It's something that everybody sits together and they are happy when they are watching. If we cannot afford to raise a strong football team, I remember in those days, Bedell Insurance was known for football. And it was actually carrying that company in a very good state. So we need to look at something that will give to the public in return, even if not sports alone, if it's not recreation, it must be something that will touch the public, that yes, insurance is a necessity for them. Sir, I join others this afternoon to also eulogize you. And in retrospect of yourself, sir, you have done quite a lot. And I pray that the little or the many more years that may remain for you, you continue to see good things. And part of the good things that you will see, that I'm very sure of, that I know that we'll work towards, is to see you immortalize yourself in the insurance broking fraternity. Because you have done a lot. You have been able to achieve a lot. You have been able to train a lot of people. You are a good mentor to each and every one of us here this afternoon. So, on behalf of the insurance broking fraternity, I say congratulations, sir, and God bless and be with you. Thank you. Thank you.
I sincerely apologize to all the people that wanted to give messages. We are very sorry. We promised our Muslim brothers we must be out by 2 because they are going to pray. So we must get out at 2. Please, my apologies for that. All we just do now is just to do a presentation to Olabode Ogunlana, and we are out of the hall. Okay, sir, mommy, kindly join him. Don't let him see, just come with the bag. Eh? Bibo. Oh, okay. Call him. Dr. Niwide, please come around. Where do you want them? Okay, up there. Sorry, sir, you need to stand up. So, I need my phone. Are you good? Are you okay?
Olola, Olabode, Ogunlana, and my aunt, Olori, Mama, I'm pleased to have you around. Now, your mentees, including me, and some of the members of the event planning committee, you nominated us to be there. And you believe that we are dedicated people. We will have confidence in us. And I believe we have performed to your expectation. And today we are rejoicing with you. And it is a pleasure to present to you in appreciation of what we have for you, this gift.
Okay. Can we have Mr. Shulanke, please, to come and give us the vote of thanks?
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I have the honor of giving the vote of thanks. I was given 7 minutes, but given the new timeline, I'll try and make it faster than that. So, standing on existing protocols, we must start by thanking Almighty God for making this day possible. Also, thank God for Olola's life and 70 years in insurance. Without God, it would not have been possible. Then I would like to thank Olola himself for his leadership, his mentorship, his pioneering spirit, and attitude, as well as continuous positive impact, not just on the industry, but in all spheres of life. I also want to thank Mama, to many of you, Mommy, to some of us, for 70 years of support. Thank you to family and friends for support over these 70 years. My fellow practitioners in the industry and colleagues, and thank you all that are here present for making time to celebrate with the doyen of the insurance industry. I would like to thank in particular the following people: the Right Honorable Darlington Wokocha, the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Mr. Sunday Thomas, Commissioner for Insurance, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Chairman of the Day and First Moderator, Mr. Ganiyu Musa, Second Moderator, the discussants, Chief Yemi Tong, Professor Duroni, Dr. Olufemi Oyetunji, Mr. Sunday Thomas again, Sir Mufta Oyegunle. Those that gave the remarks, Mr. Femi Mokikon, Mrs. Ekoma Ezebe, and our own barrister, Rotimi Edu. Also, the consultant to the celebration committee, Chief Ajibola Ogushola, Dr. Oniwide, Chairman of the celebration committee, Sir Mufta Oyegunle again, Vice Chairman of the committee, and all other committee members. Time permitting, obviously we cannot mention all of them. I would also like to thank our following partners and sponsors: NICOM, thank you; the Insurance Industry Consultative Council; the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria; the Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers; Nigerian Insurers Association; Institute of Loss Adjusters of Nigeria; Leadway Assurance Company Limited; ICO Insurance; NEM Insurance PLC; Skip Nigeria & Co. Limited. As we are at the Metropolitan Club, it would be remiss of me not to thank the President of the Metropolitan Club, Alhaji Okunu, SAN. Also, the MC of the day, Mr. Ayo Ogunkeye. The MD of Eventful, Mr. Fisaya Bicroft, and his team who works with the celebration committee, and all others that have worked tirelessly to make this a successful occasion. Finally, I want to thank the Metropolitan Club. If I've missed anyone, please excuse me. Thank you once again, and God bless you all.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a wonderful event. On this side of the hall out, there's a cocktail and slight refreshment for those interested. We thank you for honoring this invitation, and we'd like to say thank you to everybody that have come from far and wide. Enjoy the rest of the weekend, and God bless you. Thank you for honoring us.
actively in the same industry in full professional capacity, for 70 years straight. I've been working with him at Skip now for over nearly 34 years, and nearly 20 years of which as the CEO when I took over from him as the CEO. It's been wonderful working with him. I mean, 35 years is just half of that 70 years that we're talking about. So you can just imagine. It's just awesome for us to be celebrating this man, at this time. It's a phenomenon that we probably will not see in many lifetimes. A unifier is the word that comes to mind. He's someone who has brought, who although he's currently in broking, but he has transcended all aspects of
Hello, everybody. Please, like I said, on your way out, we have cocktail and finger foods cocktail on the side of the hall. Please, do make your way there. We'll appreciate it. Don't make yourself light refreshment as you step out. Please make your way there. It's to the side of the hall. The ushers are there to direct you. Please just go there to refresh yourself. Please go there to refresh yourself. Thank you. Thank you.
In Nigeria. So a unifier is what I feel is his major legacy to us, and the more we can extract from him that theme of unifying us as an industry, I think the better for us as an industry. I think a word that always comes to mind when I think about him is integrity. And integrity, not just in terms of professional integrity, is personal integrity. People seem to forget that before you can be a professional, before you can have integrity with others, you must actually be true to yourself. And that is one thing he stands for. He's true to himself. Integrity is a watchword. In this our business, being conservative is actually an asset. So conservatism is also something that I pick from him. When in this business, when you're dealing with other people's risks, managing other people's risks, you must be conservative. If not, there'll be a lot to pay for by the clients that you have. But I think most importantly on this now, on a personal level, it's contentment. In whatever he does with his time, he's very content. And I think if people don't have contentment, then there will never be anything that's enough for you. And I think it's really very essential. It's something that I've actually learned from him, and I think it's a legacy issue as far as I'm concerned.
Very, very keen on insurance, and I think he started this in 1952, if I'm correct. And he has always been talking about this, and he had in mind of starting a school of his own. And with this in mind,